dichotomy at that quarterback position as the senior quarterback, Carson Wallace, is now back on the roster.
Yeah, if you look at this Oxnard team and Ventura, Oxnard accepted the penalty, took the yardage, so they're going to be starting in plus territory. This is a team in Oxnard, 4-1. Their only loss was close and contested against a really good Camarillo Scorpions team. And for Ventura, we saw them opening night here. They were great, won the line play, but since then it has been inconsistent.
And the Yellowjackets cladded in their away white uniform with the red helmet. Here is Jayden Jones. He'll hand it off to the senior in Xavier Harris. And Harris at 5'10", 180 pounds. Last season, 1,659 rushing yards, 27 rushing touchdowns. And that doesn't include what he did on the receiving side of the ball. Kid, an absolute all-around, well-rounded player.
Yeah, you expect him to get a lot of touches tonight. You have to watch him out of that passing game. A matchup nightmare for a lot of defenses, and you're seeing it on all levels of football, that dual threat ability as a running back to also become a great pass catcher.
Coming in motion from right to left before the whistle was blown was Tanelo Lamalu. And the umpire, who is standing on the Cougar logo at the 50-yard line, awaiting what the call was from the side judge. And it was a false start, so it will be 2nd down and 10. With, again, the Yellowjackets having the ball on the Ventura 44-yard line, moving from left to right, as Jones will stand at the 50-yard line, his right foot nearest the right hash. Low snap, picks it up, knee level, scans down, looks to the right on an out route. Ball's reeled in near his mid-level by Lamalu, and Lamalu tries to shake off 2 defenders before being ushered out of bounds at the 35 for a gain of 8 yards.
Yeah, picked up about 9. It will be 3rd and short. And for Lamalu, he's a talented player that they'll use not only in the passing game. You'll see him sometimes in motion as he was earlier. And that was a simple, effective, early game pass. You want high percentage throws. You want to be able to get it in your playmaker's hands. And with Ventura's cornerbacks playing off, that was smart. You didn't need all 10 there. Pick up 9, and now you set up a 3rd and very manageable. Not to mention, if they don't get this, 4th and 1, they'll go for it.
No deep safety in this case. One-on-one coverage. Lamalu to the far side of the field with Jones barking out orders using his right hand and movement along the offensive line. Right tackle Jacob Petch, the senior. A little bit of movement there.
Yeah, all 5 starters on this team returning. 4 of them are seniors. Herrera, Cortez, Ramos, Petch, and then Simmons at center. That's an experienced line. And Petch, one of those senior starters, he jumped off. You can't expect that. At this point, you're mid-season. Early on in the season, you might make a mistake like that. We just discussed they were 3rd and 1. That changes the entire play call to go to 3rd and 6. And you just don't want your senior starters to make that mistake. And now Ventura, a little bit of breathing room here.
From the 39-yard line of the Cougars, Oxnard, as well as the junior quarterback in Jayden Jones, scans to his left as he receives orders from Coach Jaime Moreno in his first season as head coach, and a timeout used by Coach Moreno. 10:58 remaining in this opening frame of action. Again, kind of an awkward start to this contest, and this is, by the way, the Ventura Orthopedics game of the week. And Ventura Orthopedics is proud to support the collegiate and high school athletic teams of the community. The doctors serve as team physicians for most of the high school and college sports programs in the area. Whether assisting with game injuries or cheering for players from the sidelines, the doctors at Ventura Orthopedics consider it a privilege to be a part of the team. And again, Jaime Moreno in his first season as head coach for the Yellowjackets, inheriting a team that went 11-3 last year and reached the championship game in the Division VI landscape. So really inheriting a team with a lot of talents. We spoke about Harris, that very wily offensive line. Some good components, good pieces coming into this season.
Yeah, and when you look at the Oxnard team in the southern section in the CIF, they're a team experienced, went to the playoffs last year. And we do want to remind you, because we cut in during the early portion of this broadcast, Kent Brown, Cameron Molina here. You are watching VCStar.com. Make sure to check us out here for the rest of the night. And also, Derry Eads is here. We did a pregame. We'll be covering across the county on VCS Preps on Twitter.
Jones looks left, airs it out left side, and it's overthrown. And his intended target on the play was Jarrell Samuel, the senior wideout.
What I don't like about that play in particular is it's a low percentage throw. When you're 3rd and 6, you're in the plus 40. Try to manage a 3 to 4 yard gain, set up 4th and short. When you throw that type of ball, it's really high risk. Now maybe it gets picked and it's almost the same as a punt, but I just mentioned and gave praise to this Oxnard team, saying short, high percentage throw is what got them down there. I was a little bit surprised by that call, and now it sets up 4th and 6 on a team that, frankly, we've seen this defensive line already get good penetration.
Well, Zach Rodriguez playing midfield now, potentially expecting a pooch punt from Jayden Jones, the junior QB, who stands at the 45-yard line of Ventura. He looks left, out route. Lamalu brings it in, spins away at the 30 to the 29-yard line, being ushered backward before he's clamped down by a herd of Cougars.
10-yard gain, first down, great throw by Jayden Jones, and the pocket was superb for the Oxnard Yellowjackets. We mentioned all this senior experience. That's a way to make up for the false start. Get a great pocket, allow your junior quarterback to see the field, go through his progressions, and then find the open receiver. That's already 2 big catches now for Lamalu.
Jones and company with the first down. We'll go with the reverse. Lamalu has a little bit of a crease to the outside. He works outside of the numbers before forcing out at the 29-yard line as a gang of Cougars came up to make the stop with Caden Carbum with the initial tackle.
Yeah, that time they tried to go wide, and the Cougars weren't biting. The Cougars just read that, did not allow a cutback lane, great pursuit to the football, and there were about 4 Ventura Cougars right there towards the sideline, nowhere to go. That's exactly what you want out of your defense on first down.
And Jones with a terrific out route pass to move the chains here on the last third down opportunity. So far this year, entering the contest, 843 passing yards, as well as 8 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. Jones scans the middle of the field as he surveys. Coming back to the football and reeling it in is Aaron Fonts, the senior, wheels up inside the hash marks, nearest the right hash mark of the 20-yard line, moves to the 17-yard line. And that is enough to move the chains.
It was interesting. Fonts caught it right at the sticks, went back about 4 yards, and then was able to get about 5 yards from there. So all for naught. Could have been a 10-yard gain. Instead, it was closer to 11 or 12. But a good job in the first catch of the game for Aaron Fonts. And he has offers from Colorado State.
Yes.
He has offers from Montana. He's a guy who is very much looked upon as a D1 major prospect.
3 wide receivers set with Lamalu working towards the bottom of the formation. Jones, play action to Harris. He scans left, maintains his composure. He'll wheel outside the pocket at the 20, at the 15, tiptoes out of bounds at the 14-yard line for a 3-yard gain.
I like that play. Take what the defense gives you. It was first down. Now it's second and about 6. A good job by Jayden Jones. And that's what you want to see out of your quarterback in the first quarter. Keep your composure. Find the open receivers. And if everything breaks down, set up 4 yards. You get 4 yards every down, you're going to be in good shape. And that time it was a good defense by Ventura, but a nice heads-up decision by the junior signal caller.
Fred Vasquez III, who lines up as tight end / wide receiver, subbing off the field for a 2 wide receiver set. Xavier Harris flanking to the right of Jones for the 14-yard line of the Ventura Cougars. 3 down linemen and a flag is thrown by the head linesman.
Second one already. That's 2 penalties now on the offensive line for Oxnard. And I would have figured going into this game, now both lines are experienced, but I would have guessed if any offensive line, and we haven't seen Ventura's yet, it would be the Cougars maybe to make a couple mistakes. Instead, it's been the veteran 5 starters returning from last year's playoff team, and it has been an up and down. When they've been able to pass protect, they've been great, but you can't commit those pre-snap penalties. That always sets you back.
2nd and 12. And a realignment along the offensive line as Jacob Herrera, the senior, moves towards the left side of the formation. Here's Harris. He'll go right up the gut, bounce off the right hip of the center, maneuver past the 10 to the 9-yard line, and scampers forward for about 10 yards to set up a 3rd down and 1.
3rd and short, a good inside run by Harris. That time he was able to cut up right between the left guard and the center. A positive gain, really the first inside rush we've seen between the tackles all game for the Oxnard Yellowjackets, and it was very effective.
And Harris said of last year, with Coach John Mack leading this Yellowjackets punch, they ran a lot of power formations to give him the opportunity to sprint up and down the field and utilize that very experienced offensive line. And from the gun now, Jones flips it out left side. Here's Tamalu again at the 10, tries to juke back inside of the numbers before the Cougars swarm to the football.
Huge play by the Cougars defense, coming up and making the play. And it looked like when it was initially thrown, it might be open space for the first. And very quickly, the linebackers and the secondary closed on Lamalu, and that was probably a loss of maybe a half of yard or so, and the safety, Kuntz, came up, big hit, and now they already completed one 4th down earlier. Now it's the second time this possession.
Well, a lot of field, as you can see, towards the right side of the formation. No one over there. I'd be interested to see if somebody comes in motion. Instead, it's a handoff to Harris. Juke's left slashes towards the outside, has a little bit of wiggle room, and snakes into the end zone for 6. Harris able to capitalize off the 4th down and 2 to go.
A 10-yard touchdown by Harris. He was the difference in the red zone. All their effective plays were virtually the runs to Harris. We talked about between the tackles. That time it bounced outside. And Xavier Harris, you mentioned Ivy League offers. On our pre-show we did, courtesy of Facebook Live with Derry Eads, the Deuce, here at the Star. He also has that Montana offer. So Fonts, Harris, 2 guys, they're getting some looks across the D1 spectrum, and a great opening drive. A couple penalties, but on 4th down, they were 2 for 2, including the touchdown.
Jose Estrada set up to kick the point after touchdown, and it easily splits the upright. So 7-0, the Yellowjackets with a 1-possession lead on a drive that lasted 9 plays and went 43 yards after an awkward beginning for the Ventura Cougars following an illegal kicking procedure and then a fair catch violation. Yellowjackets with sublime position and then used 9 plays to give Harrison a 10-yard rushing touchdown to put them up with 7:52 remaining in the opening quarter.
What I liked about that possession was the composure of Jayden Jones, making the right read on the 4th and 6 earlier. And then in this drive, he didn't get rattled after the 2 false starts. He wasn't somebody that ever looked like he was making a big mistake. He took the yards that were in front of him. And then Xavier Harris, the power run. I want to see more of that. If I'm Oxnard right now and you're going over film, you're talking to your offensive line, I want to see more of the running game, because in Harris's 2 rushes there in the red zone, 10 yards and 10 yards. That's a pretty good way to go.
And a relatively established, balanced offensive attack for the Yellowjackets. 4 passing plays, 5 running plays on that 9-play drive as Estrada puts the ball at the 40-yard line on the neon green tee. And it is an onside kick that is recovered by the Cougars, and sprawling out on the ground for the recovery, Isaiah Garcia, the senior.
Yeah, that was one of those, I'm not sure if he just went to kind of toe poke it and then it squibbed to the 50, or if it was an onside kick where he was hoping it would bounce back. Either way, it went right off of Ventura Cougars' hand. And fortunately for them, the men in black here on the field came up with the football. So we've had a very short field for Oxnard to start. And now on the other end, you have the Ventura Cougars with a relative short field. And here is Carson Wallace. He's back.
Yes, started the first game of the season against Royal. Unfortunately left with an injury. Cade Ledsma stepping up and supplying a good dual threat option for this Cougars team. It's a handoff to the right. Streaking is Dane Kapler, the senior. He makes his way across the 45 to the 47-yard line for a pickup of 4 yards on 1st down.
Good start. They're going to have a lot of Kapler. He's the senior, the transfer from Malibu High School. And when he's healthy, he's a real weapon. And this was a kid who kind of fell in the lap of this team this year, and the Ventura Cougars were glad to bring this tailback aboard with all their weapons. They're without Daniel Gutierrez, one of the starting receivers tonight, but with Willis back and Kapler healthy, they're going to be an offense that, as you mentioned, the balance on the Oxnard side, expect a lot of balance here for Ventura as well.
And the umpire throwing the dirty laundry on the field and a false start on the Cougars, pushing them back 5 yards, actually negating what Kapler just did.
Yeah, we do. We always joke, George and I, a lot when you have that week 0 or maybe week 1. We call it like the week 0 jinx, or the week 0 just the guys making mistakes where offensive linemen just screw up a bit more than normal. We usually don't see that come mid-season, though.
Willis, under duress, flips it out. Left side, nearly intercepted, and streaking up from the right side of the field. Jalen Lankilde, the junior, nearly tipping the ball up into the air, / almost coming up with the interception.
Yeah, and Lankilde's replacing the injured Benny Martinez at that weak side defensive end spot, and that was a throw that just shouldn't be made. I understand Willis is back. He wants to get his reps in, but that time you had 2 guys bracketed on your receiver. You're falling away, and you're pretty much just shot putting it in the air. That is not a smart throw. That's a win for the defense for Oxnard. They got the pressure, and you just, generally speaking there, just take the sack and live to fight another day. Could have been a costly turnover.
Aiden Herrera subs in for the Cougars, but not before the downs judge waves his hand and undulates them, signaling a timeout used by Ventura County Ventura with 7 minutes remaining in the opening quarter of action, 7-0. Oxnard with the lead. As we talked about, the balance approach coming from the Yellowjacket side of things. Again, first offensive drive for this Cougars bunch. But Carson Wallace, a senior, you expect him to be poised. You expect him to make good decisions. And I think that's one of the primary reasons why Coach Garcia went with Willis over Jordan Tanner, who, again, is a physical specimen at 6'6", 190 pounds, and a strong arm. When
you look at Carson Wallace, he's a guy that the coaching staff trusts. He's a player in which he's out on the field. They expect very good decisions. Anytime you have a senior tailback, a senior quarterback, guys with experience, look at the receivers. Kuntz and Rodriguez, seniors. Jayden Cline, a senior at the H-back. You look at the offensive line, 3 seniors. All these players, and we discussed this earlier this season, this is a team that's lost recently a bunch of years, but this is the team they expect to rise to the occasion
Willis
and play well.
With a 3 wide receiver set, airs it out over the left seam, and reeling the ball in is Jordan Cline, and the catch is converted at the 30-yard line.
That was a great route, a great throw, right on the money, and a huge gain for the Ventura Cougars. And that's what you want out of Willis, is when he can be composed, drill that ball down the seam, find your receiver. That was definitely on third down. A heck of a throw, probably the best we've seen all night.
Yes, 29 yards along the left seam. Cline, great juggling catch as there was a safety right in front of him. Under center will be Willis. He'll turn around. Kapler tries to muscle his way towards the left side of the line, spins, bounces out to the right side before being stopped right at the 30-yard line for no gain.
What I like so far in this game is the quarterbacks making good decisions, third and fourth down. Ultimately, so much about winning football games, Cam, is converting thirds, getting fourth and shorts, converting the fourth downs, and then obviously scoring points when you get into plus territory. They go incomplete there. They're down 7-0, and Ventura's punting to a hot Oxnard team. Instead, that play we could look back at and say that might have been the difference here in the first quarter.
Single back formation. It's a jab sweep to Rodriguez, who winds across the numbers at the 30, shy of the 25, down at the 26-yard line for a 4-yard scamper.
Yeah, and we are just past the midway point here of this first quarter, and we've seen 2 possessions. So it's been good offensive football here so far.
And if you are just joining us, this is the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week alongside Kent Brown, Anthony Placicia, Cam Molina with you. And for the Ventura Orthopedics, 20 doctors, 5 locations in Ventura County, all with one goal in mind to get you back in the game. Ventura Orthopedics specializes in sports medicine, general orthopedics, pain management, pediatric, and MRI. They have highly skilled physicians and occupational therapists. Make sure to learn more at VenturaOrtho.com or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280.
How about the sack on that play? Huge inside blitz, and they got home. And that is one that when you dial up, you have to hit, because otherwise that entire middle of the field is wide open, and the quarterback probably gets an easy crossing route for a nice completion. Instead, now we are faced with 4th and long. It does look like, though, Cam, Ventura's keeping their offense on the field here as it's 4th and 12.
Marcus Bastillos, the junior wide receiver, subbing onto the field, deep back. Kapler, deep pitch across the 35. Kapler trying to use what little space he has before being stymied at the 25-yard line by the Yellowjackets, about 5 yards shy of that first down marker, and the Yellowjackets will take control offensively about midfield in their own territory.
Suspect play call on that one. You need 12, and you didn't I don't think you put the team in enough position there to get the full 12 yards. Clearly, you make a couple guys miss, you can get there. It's still not bad field position. It's not like you turned it over at midfield. But for Ventura, I like in those situations, get the ball to the sticks and then see what happens instead of going short.
And Jones, with his neon yellow shoes, has a 4 wide receiver set, 3 by 1. Working towards the bottom of the formation is Fonts, the 6'2 senior. Jones brings his hands up to his chin, gives the ball to Harris as he tries to slide out of an ankle tackle, but unable to do so. Maybe a gain of 1. And Nick Lansky, the senior who led the team in tackles last season with 93, including 9.5 tackles for loss there to make the stop.
Yeah, it was a good defensive play. Certainly the best against Harris here tonight on his rushes. As I mentioned, he got to the red zone twice earlier, had 10 yards on both, and ultimately 1 went for a score. So I think for Xavier Harris, they're going to keep feeding him the rock, but the defense has to win up front like they did there.
Jones in the Yellowjackets, 7-0 lead under 4 to go in the opening quarter. Quick out route ball is reeled in by Fonts, and he's able to pluck it out of the air as he also dragged the back right foot across the 30 at the 31-yard line.
That was a pretty catch, hand catch, right near the sideline. As you mentioned, getting your feet down before you hit the white stripe on the sideline here at Ventura High School. And now it gives the team a chance on third down. They pick up a few, still third and long, but that's a good catch. Not the best ball as it was trailing out of bounds, but Fonts is a target there on the outside that they can rely on, and he proved it on that play.
Bunch formation towards the left side of the offensive line. Harris now motioned out to the far side of the field, more of a wing back. Here's Jones, scans down the middle of the defense and throws an incomplete pass as Fred Vasquez III was who he was trying to hit near the 40-yard line, just running a simple dig play. With 3:51 remaining in the opening quarter, the clock stops on a 4th and 4.
Yeah, that's one you hope that the quarterback and the receiver are in sync on that play and that you're able to complete it. Probably one you draw up, expect to be completed for the first down. Instead, it's not quite there with Vasquez and, of course, with Jayden Jones. And for Ventura, you turned it over on downs. Barring a special teams mishap here, you're going to get the ball back, down 7-0, and you moved the ball pretty well on your first possession.
And the junior Hunter Rapp with 2 white gloves on his left and right hand, awaiting the snap and to send it away, where Zach Rodriguez for the Cougars is waiting to receive. He scoops it up at the 40-yard line outside of the numbers and tiptoes out of bounds at the 49-yard line, and some extra pushing towards the end of the play by the Yellowjackets and hitting the deck, I believe, with J.J. Ayala.
You don't see a lot that your return man is also your kickoff guy, your punter, and your kicker, but that's what Zach Rodriguez is here tonight for the Ventura team. We saw him do the opening kickoffs. He'll be the punter. He is just an all-purpose player that is in to contribute on defense with the safety position, kicking game as the kicker plays kicker kickoffs, and then as that elusive slot receiver. Wherever you need number 80, Coach Garcia can rely on him.
Yes, and Coach Garcia said he is a utility guy, and he is so great to have. Motioning from left to right will be the Cougars. Here's Cline shaking off 2 defenders, tries to cut back inside the numbers, and is down at the 30-yard line, and Kapler scurries forward for a pickup of 17.
A good gain, a nice cutback by Kapler. And that time the motion did draw the defense away. That was a good heads-up play call as Ventura was able to send the motion player, Dorian Dawson. And because of that, all of a sudden, you had open space with the one cut.
Towards the top right of the formation, it is Herrera. Under center, Willis. Motion from right to left. And quickly trying to force the ball out to Kapler as Willis, but the defense swarming on the action. And Titus Hutchinson, the junior linebacker, making the initial hit. So an incomplete pass brings up 2nd down and 10 to go in a 7-0 game. Only a 1-possession lead for the Yellowjackets on the road in the first Pacific View League contest of the year.
Yeah, I think right now you have Carson Wallace, an experienced quarterback, happy to only be trailing 7-0 after the first drive that stalled on turnover on downs. But once again, for the second time tonight, Cam, they're past the 50 at the 30-yard line. It's when they've gotten here, though, is when they've struggled. Last possession, they got to the 30, stalled out, turned over on downs. This time at the 30, and now another pre-snap penalty. That's 2 on Oxnard, and I believe 2 on Ventura already tonight.
Yes.
You just can't make those mistakes.
Just some of those mental errors, and it could go back to the fact that there might be a little bit of jitters entering such a crucial game. Every league game matters, obviously, but for this Oxnard team, you play Pacifica next week, you can't afford to make mistakes. Willis hands off. Kapler, left side, bounces off the left hip of the left guard to the 30-yard line and picks up 5. Correction, Eric Maxwell, the junior, goes to the 30-yard line for a pickup of 5.
And they'll use Maxwell a lot tonight. He's definitely going to be utilized. He's another back that they rely on, will almost definitely be the starting tailback next year as a senior, and he fits in nicely. A good change of pace from Kapler.
Jayden Cline lined up directly behind the right guard. Deep back is Maxwell. Willis hands off. Cline came over from right to left and tried to sneak his way towards the left side, but is stymied at the 29-yard line, and he was stoned by multiple Yellowjackets who inject their stingers in on that play.
I like that. Injects their stingers. Now we got to come up with something for the Cougars on the other side.
Sink their fangs.
Okay.
Or their
that
claws,
works.
I suppose.
Yeah, I mean,
One
either
or the
way.
other.
I'll leave it up to you tonight. I know Anthony's over here laughing. I think he liked the fangs comment more, I believe. Yes, he's giving me the thumbs up. But Jayden Cline got utilized on that possession. He has a San Diego offer, maybe a Torero come next football season. And he's a guy that, another do-it-all utility player for the Cougars.
Cline resets to the motion. Willis rolls out, guns it right side of the field. Two-man coverage, intercepted at the 2-yard line. Maneuvering back is R.J. Aranda, the senior, and he is down near the 20-yard line.
That time, though, it's 4th down. I understand you want to throw it deep. You think maybe if it's turned over, it will back you up the same way a punt will. Willis gave his receiver a chance. Aranda made the better play, though, and then returned it up to, they're going to mark it at, I believe, the 13 or 14. So a good return by Aranda, the free safety. And that's what you want out of your free safety. 4th down, get deep, deeper than the deepest, as they say, and then track the ball. And that's what you want out of your senior free safety, and a good return. And now turnover on downs, first possession, and then a turnover on the second possession. Both times, Cam, inside the 30.
Deep pitch to Harris. He works towards the left side of the offensive line before tiptoeing out of bounds, maybe for a 1-yard pickup at the 13-yard line. And Oxnard starting this offensive sequence from their own 12 following the interception by Aranda.
I need to get used to, because normally in the backfield when I see yellow down on the field, I'm assuming it's a flag that's thrown there. But I have to realize that's actually just the shoes of Jayden Jones. It's been 3 times tonight in my head. I've looked back and I'm mentally thinking, oh, there's a flag in the backfield because it's on the grass. And then I realized, no, that's just his yellow sneakers. And I have to realize that that's not a flag. So if there is one, it might be confusion. But for now, if you are watching this, Jayden Jones has the bright yellow shoes that seem to match a flag if you just briefly look over.
Highlighter yellow cleats. As Vasquez comes in motion from right to left. Jones, ample time in the pocket, looks to step up, scurries across the 10, the 15, the 20, slides at the 24 and might gain enough to go to the 25 and move the sticks for a young quarterback trying to make a play there. You just have to, in that moment, know that there are other plays to be had. Slide, make sure you don't get injured.
I like that, the move the sticks. A little shout out here from you and I in our past work. Minute left in this quarter, and it has been Jayden Jones that's so far been very impressive as a quarterback. Hasn't put the ball in a position where it could get picked, has taken the smart runs, accurate on 3rd and 4th down. What you want out of your junior signal caller, he's done so far here tonight.
Harris to the left hip of Jones, and more motion along the line as J.J. Ayala, the senior fullback, moves to the right side. It's a wide receiver screen hauled in by Vasquez as he tries to work in between the hashes, but a flag is down.
See, that time it was a flag. So
yeah, not the cleats.
Yeah, the cleats are still there. The cleats will always be there, but that time there was a backfield flag in addition. So for the first time tonight, it looks like there'll be a flag that has nothing to do with a pre-snap procedure sort of deal. And some extracurriculars afterwards. A helmet is off. I believe for Oxnard it's Fred Vasquez.
Yes.
So tight ends are always chippy. I don't want a tight end who's not going to be out there maybe trying to, hit the fellow players and just being able to beat up. If you don't have a physical tight end at this level, probably shouldn't be out there. So I like Fred Vasquez. I don't mind if you get a little chippy. That's fine.
Well, it's a holding call going against Oxnard that will move them back to their own 22-yard line with 33 seconds remaining in the opening quarter and a touchdown lead following Harris's 11-yard touchdown rush on the opening drive for this Yellow Jacket club. And time will continue to trickle away as we're under 30, and Jones and company might stay locked in this huddle as the congregation is hanging back at the 5-yard line, and maybe one more play before wrapping up this opening quarter.
I would give it to 11. Let's see what Harris can do if you're going to make one snap.
Well, he is to the left of Jones. And again, Ayala motioning from left to right and then resets. Harris gashes left side, plenty of daylight, 25-30, 35-40, lowers his shoulder and pops into the defender at the 45-yard line as he accelerates for 32 yards with just under a second. 0.4 of a second remaining in this opening quarter of action in a 7-0 game, and the clock will just trickle away. And with that, That spells the end of the first quarter of action, 7-0. The visiting Oxnard Yellowjackets in a Pacific View League game, leading by a touchdown and looking to jump forward in the league race. And make sure, once again, this is the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. Ventura Orthopedics has one goal: to get you back in the game. The doctors are well-versed in the special orthopedic needs of both the amateur and professional athlete. Many of their physicians currently serve as team doctors for most of the area high schools and community colleges. 20 doctors, 26 physical therapists, all with an athlete's best health performance in mind. Learn more at VenturaOrtho.com today or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280. And after a quarter of play, once again, 7-0. And if you are just joining us on VCStar.com alongside Kent Brown, as well as Anthony Placicia, Cam Molina with you. And we're close to beginning the second quarter of action. Make sure to follow all of our VC Star updates at VCS Preps on Twitter to get all the updates from the regional high school football games and much more.
Yeah, and right now in this game, Jayden Jones has been terrific. I think for Carson Wallace, we're seeing a little bit of maybe some nerves, some rust on his end. But we're seeing so far, if they cross 4 more yards, every possession tonight will have gone into opponent's territory, and yet it's only 7-0. So the defenses have not necessarily been getting off the field quickly, but they've at least rose up for the most part and gotten stops.
A ghost play action. Jones, a fluttering pass caught by Fonts. 20, 15, 10, 5, and skates into the end zone. Touchdown, Yellowjackets. A 54-yard pitch and catch between the junior quarterback and the senior wideout with offers from Colorado State University.
Yeah, that's a way to start the quarter. You were buried inside your own 15-yard line, but hold up, there's a flag back there. So just as we are about to give them all the credit in the world, a flag is thrown in the backfield, and the offensive linemen are kind of talking to each other, chirping. So that's usually in the vicinity of holding. And I was just about to say, Cam, just when you're backed inside your own 15, 2 plays later you score, and there goes the holding call. And remember, in high school football, unlike college or the NFL, the 10 yards is assessed from the holding spot. So it could be a 16, 17, 18-yard loss, depending on where the held occurred.
So the touchdown negated off of the hold from a well-seasoned offensive line. So the 54-yard touchdown erased, and it will be a first down and 27 to go.
Yeah, again, a 17-yard loss.
From the Yellowjackets' own 30-yard line along the left hash, 4 wide receivers set. Jones, 5-step drop, looks for the screen, caught by Harris at the 25, tries to slither in between the hash mark, does, has a little bit of open space toward the right side of the field. He winds outside the numbers, 40, 45, 50, 45, stays on his feet, 40, maintains his balance before being dropped at the 35-yard line.
Late flag as well.
Play, and a flag comes in.
So that ends up being a gain of about 35 yards before the flag. And if they add on 15, if it's a face mask or some sort of personal foul, that could be a 50-yard gain. And Cam, he caught the ball at the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Went wide, made about 6, 7 Cougars miss, and then went up the sideline. And there it is, personal foul. So all of a sudden, a 50-yard net gain, 35 on the ground after the little slip pass. Xavier Harris is fun to watch, huh?
Anthony's going to have to step his game up because we have like those ESPN yard trackers where they highlight the players and they run from the right side of the field to the left side of the field. Can we get some really cool effect to show that had to be at least 15 yards to the outside, then wound up to the middle of the field, then juked out a player, and then maintained his balance?
And a superb job on the outside by Trevor Kuntz. He almost blocked in the back, and last second he held up, and he had to be thinking, my guy's faster than your guy. If I touch you, it's a penalty. And fortunately, he proved he was pretty good on that one. So overall, actually, you know what? I think it was Lamar on the outside that did that. So just a really good job by the receiver. You do not want to block in the back there because if so, it would have been about a 5-yard gain. Instead, it was 50.
And showing that awareness with that seasoned team. Harris on the Wildcat, fakes it to the outside. It's a handoff to Fonts. 20, 15, 10, 5, jumps in the air, lunges into the end zone, and he is in for 6.
Yeah, how about that, a 21-yard gain. Fonts had the 54-yard score that was called back because of the hold. With the help of his senior partner, Xavier Harris, getting the 50 yards. Now he gets a 21-yard gain. So it's 33 less yards than he had before the flag, but ultimately it's the same difference. Gets the pay dirt, gets 6.
So nearly a 3-minute drive that went 5 plays and results in a 21-yard touchdown run by Fonts. And here's Estrada to make it 14-0 potentially. Steps into it, flicks it into the air, and it's good. 14-zip Yellowjackets leading on the road with 10:47 remaining in the first half of action. And Kent, we've seen a pair of impressive offensive sequences for this Yellowjacket team. Jones doing a phenomenal job pacing through the air and then giving the ball to Harris to allow him to score on the first offensive drive, and then utilizing more of those experienced weapons to pick up touchdowns, just like Fonts.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the offensive play calling by Tim Gutierrez right now, where you're letting your playmakers get the ball in space. You're giving double reverses, wildcat formations, couple trick plays, slip screens, everything to keep the defense off balance. And I would say if you talk to Tim Garcia, he loves his line play. And right now the line play has been, relatively speaking, negated on the defensive side due to this Oxnard offense using their athletes in space, getting rid of the ball quickly. And then when Jayden Jones has had to drop back and complete the deep passes, he's done a pretty good job as well. So if I'm grading the offensive play calling so far, it's a solid A as far as I'm concerned so far here early in the second quarter.
Yellowjackets average margin of victory so far this season, 35 points, up 14 currently as the ball is fielded by Rodriguez at his own 10-yard line, trying to use the right side of the field, and check that, it's Kapler as he works towards the right side of the field, shy to the 30-yard line at the 28 for an 18-yard return.
Now it's time for Carson Wallace to show us what he's made of. As we mentioned, I believe he's the guy. We'll find out here shortly if it is Carson Wallace. And now it looks like, I'm just kind of looking at the sideline, number 1 does not appear to be in the huddle at the moment. So all of a sudden, is it Tanner? Is it Ledesma who they switched to receiver?
It looks like Tanner.
Jordan Tanner is making his way out on the field for the first time tonight.
So Tanner and company will come out in a gun formation, 2 wings towards the left side of the field. Tanner hikes up his right leg to bring Cline in motion from right to left. Handoff Kapler. Stutter step in the backfield across the 35 to the 36-yard line and ekes out about 8 yards on a first down run.
Kapler has to be thinking, hey, hold up, guys. There's 2 really good running backs in this game. I understand Xavier Harris and his teammates are up 14-0, but if you give 28 the rock, I'll be able to do some damage as well. And that's a great first down gain. 8 yards, inside rush between the tackles. More of that. If you're Coach Garcia and you're this Ventura team right now, you don't necessarily, with the quarterback just checking in and Tanner, you don't want to have to be throwing a lot on first down.
Almost a pistol set with Cline coming in motion again. He's one of the team captains this season. Kapler fakes left, tries to deke out the defense, and ducks right before being stalled. No gain on the run, bringing up about a 3rd down and 3.
Crucial down, biggest down of the night, 14-0 here. Early stages of the second quarter, 9:45 remaining. And this is, I don't want to say a must get, but the way this game is going with Oxnard's offense, you feel like Ventura has to find a way to pick up 2 or 3 yards here.
2 down blockers for Tanner, using that 6'6" frame and trying to barrel over the defense at the 40-yard line, and it's enough to pick up a first down.
A good gain. That time you trust your big quarterback will get it. They had 2 blockers right in front of him there, almost a double fullback formation, power formation with your 5 linemen, all experienced starters, and a good play call and a nice finish there by Tanner to pick up 3.5 yards.
Rodriguez, as we've discussed before, a utility man as described by Coach Garcia, also one of the captains this season for the Cougars towards the bottom of the formation in a single back set. Tanner, hand off, Kapler, 40, tries to cut it outside, moves back inside of the 45 and slithers shy of the 50-yard line, and it looks like it's enough to move the chains.
Yeah, needed 10, picked up about 10 and a foot to move the chains midfield again, but we know Ventura's problem has not been getting to midfield or even getting to the 30. It's can they capitalize when they're nearing the red zone. 3 possessions tonight, all 3 have gone at least to the 50. But it's when they get closer, that's when they've stalled. So we'll see if maybe Jordan Tanner can change those fortunes.
That was Kapler's 3rd carry of this drive. He's totaled 18 yards on this offensive possession with 2 wideouts to the left side of the formation, the right side of the formation. The nearest wide receiver, Rodriguez, and then opting out of the shotgun to the single back set. Feature back is Kapler. Cline comes in motion again from right to left. There's Kapler lowering his shoulder pads and trying to bruise his way forward as he gets to the 45-yard line. And Coach Garcia electing to go with a run-first approach on this offensive sequence while Willis is sidelined.
Really good idea. As I said, you don't want to have to put the ball in the air a lot on first down anyways, especially when you're bringing in a backup quarterback. So I like the play calling, get in second and medium, see what you can probably do on the ground here again. Or now you're in a down and distance enough, Cam, that you can maybe throw it here and try to catch the defense off guard.
Tanner hikes up his right leg. Rodriguez on the end around, tries to find a few blocks, slashes up the middle at the 40, 35, spins away from the defender and dropped at the 31-yard line for a gain of 14. And Rodriguez, the jack-of-all-trades player for this Cougar bunch, moves the chains.
A good gain up, close to the 30, and I have to say it again, they're right near where they've been all night. Now it's time to get some positive gains. I like the way this drive is going. I have to trust they'll run it here again on first down. But right now, the Oxnard defense is very comfortable in this position because they've been great at getting stops every time Ventura's been knocking at that red zone door.
Nearly 7 yards per carry on this offensive drive for those who have touched the ball. Jordan Tanner, the junior, lines up under center. Cline again comes in motion, and there's a flag that comes out and a false start.
Yeah, another one.
No encroachment on the defense, so it's a 5-yard gain for this Cougar club.
Okay, so I thought it was a false start, and as it turns out, it was the defense causing the offensive line to move. So for the first time tonight, we've seen the defensive line make that pre-snap mistake.
Yes. And after a series of holds by Oxnard and what you thought would limit their third offensive drive of this game, it actually resulted in a Fonts rushing touchdown, just showing that their talent is able to overcome some of their early flubs. 2 wide receiver set. Cline comes in motion from left to right with a heavy left set. Tanner airs it out right side of the field. Rodriguez just outside of his outstretched arms and the white gloves, tearing up some of that black turf in the Cougars' end zone.
Had him open. Tanner afterwards, you can tell his head's up to the sky thinking, how did I miss that? Rodriguez was open, could have been 6, but it's only second and short still. So
yeah,
overall,
perfect time to go for it in that situation.
Yeah, I think, again, well designed. Instead of it being 1st and 10, you ended up 1st and 5. But that's one, looking back at it, if they get stalled again, Cam, you'll look back at that play and say that could have been 6. Let's see, though, how Tanner adjusts now, because after making that errant throw, it's still their ball near the red zone and the chance here to cut this lead in half.
3 down linemen for the Yellowjackets. Here's Kapler left side across the 25 to the 23-yard line, so maybe 3, setting up a 3rd down and short.
2 downs here, I would assume, if needed. Kapler's been, as you said, gaining about 7 yards every time he's carried the ball in this possession. They feed the rock to 28.
185 pounds, and the senior entering this contest, 332 rushing yards on the season, as well as 1 rushing touchdown, 8.3 yards per carry. Terrific. With under 6 minutes remaining in this opening half of action, it's 14-0 as the Oxnard Yellowjackets on the road at Ventura High School at Larrabee Stadium lead by 2 touchdowns. Vasquez comes in motion from right to left. Another dig up the middle and enough to move the chains.
Yeah, you don't need 10 there. You only need 3, and that's exactly what Kapler got. They were able to send the motion man. Dorian Dawson's been used. He's listed as a quarterback on the Max Preps roster, but he's been a guy that they've sent in motion in slots. You also got to realize, too, and I'll just keep this in mind, if he's listed as a quarterback and he keeps doing those, maybe he throws it on one of those. It's possible.
Yeah, a gadget play would be big at one point in time against this Oxnard team when they're not expecting it. Tanner, deep pitch. Kapler tries to weave up along the right hash mark. He crosses the 15 to the 13-yard line.
Good
gain of about 8 yards.
First time we've seen that pitch to the right side. A lot of it has been power or even that maybe off tackle or a 1 cut to the left side. That time Kapler was able to go in there. It looks like they're going to bring in another player here in the backfield as Nick Lansky will check in. You got to think he's kind of coming in as an extra blocker here on what's 2nd and about 1 yard.
3rd captain for this Ventura bunch, a senior at 6 foot tall, as mentioned before, led the team last season in tackles at 93. Strong right formation. trying to work towards the strong side of the set is Kapler, and it looks like he's going to be shy of the first down, so 3rd and inches.
Yeah, nice tackle there. Anthony Lopez, the Mike linebacker, coming in and not allowing that space to open up, was able to get a very good tackle, and now it looks like they're going to rush to the huddle here, 3rd and short.
And this drive is nearly gone. 6 minutes, and a timeout is used by the Oxnard Yellowjackets. And Kent, one understated fact thus far, right now the Cougars dictating the time of possession, especially on this drive, nearly a 6-minute drive, relying on the broad, sturdy shoulders of their senior halfback in Kapler, as well as the very tall Tanner.
Yeah, this is a must type of possession for the Ventura offense. I said earlier, on 3rd down, they had to convert. They did. Then there were 4th down. They converted. Down 14-0, and frankly, knowing Oxnard's not getting shut out the rest of the way, most likely, I guess it's not a guarantee, you're going to need points. So in this situation, you have to tell your team, if you're Ventura, enough's enough. We've been down near here twice already, and we left with 0 points. It is time. Tim Garcia is the head coach. He's also the OC, so he has to look at himself and say, it is time that we end up getting 6, cutting this lead in half, and making a game out of it, because you can move the ball all you want. If you're not getting touchdowns and you're not getting in the red zone much, it's really not going to matter. And now 3 straight times are to the 30. This is the furthest they've been, Cam, down to the 12. They have to capitalize here as it's 3rd and about a half a yard.
4:25 remaining in this first half of action. A 14-point lead for the visiting Yellowjackets. Kent Brown, Cam Molina with you here on VCStar.com for the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. Tanner comes out in the gun with a hard count, and it's going to be a false start on the offense. And the offense pointing to the defense pointing to the offense is Caleb Barajas, the junior right tackle, with the early motion.
Yeah, again, another false start. We've seen it on both sides. I questioned Oxnard on their first possession, saying you got to come out sharper than that. And now what this does is it changes the entire play. Instead of it being 3rd and inches, it's now 3rd and 5, 5.5, and that changes everything that you planned on doing. I assumed with the big, tall quarterback, you were going to do another one of those sneaks.
And now here's a gadget play as Anthony Lopez, the linebacker's on the field, and a timeout used by the Cougars. And it was going to be more of a specialized package, a specialized set. And Coach Garcia did not like what he saw, so electing to use a timeout. 1 remaining for this Cougar bunch with 4:25 remaining in the half. And Kent, we've seen on this drive patience and resiliency thus far for the Cougars. They're not letting that 14-point lead get them down and marching into enemy territory, and now they are within a stone's throw of a touchdown.
A huge down. It's worth calling the timeout there. If you don't like your formation and you have 5 wide and they don't look in sync, use that timeout. It's the first half. It's not the second half where timeouts are more important. Still have 1 in the bag, and like you said, stone's throw away. You have to find a way to at least get the 6 yards, move the chains, but certainly eventually you need the point. So I like that. If you feel like there's any worry, especially when your quarterback is his first series of the game, use that timeout, calm the nerves, tell your offensive line, don't jump, wait till the snap, and then attack the defense.
2 passing touchdowns by Tanner against Camarillo, and again staying out the same formation with Anthony Lopez trying to run this set. A handoff to Kapler. He'll run off tackle, waits for the wide receiver to attempt to set the edge, but he is absolutely stomped out.
0 yards, a huge stop, and now it's 4th down, and decision time. Tanner is coming back into the game after checking with the coaching staff. I thought maybe they would kick here. It's only about a 34-yarder, but it does not appear that Rodriguez will be coming in to kick. Rourke Reeman's normally their place kicker. This might have been a time when they would have done it, but instead, he's not able to play tonight.
And a correction, that was Cade Ledesma who was running the gadget formation, as Jordan Tanner is now back on the field for a 4th down and 6. And 2 wide receivers split with Rodriguez at the bottom of the formation. Kapler to the right of Tanner. He looks right, fluttering past and overthrowing Rodriguez. Actually, if Rodriguez had turned his head around, there might have been an opportunity for it, though it would have been an extremely difficult catch, and that's a turnover on downs.
And how about that possession? 7 minutes, 12 seconds, 0 points, and the 3rd time tonight, you are deep in opponent's territory with 0 points. It's difficult to win any football game when that happens, especially when the other team has weapons like Xavier Harris Aaron Fonts, and a Jayden Jones-led team that has been really effective tonight from that quarterback position.
And Jones transferring in from Chaminade. He enrolled in Oxnard as a freshman, but then transferred out and now back in the place in which he grew up. And he said, I've never been scared of pressure. I look forward to helping my team win. It's not an act of cockiness by any means, just showing his confidence. And Jones play action, pump fake, trying to bait the safety, and wide open over the middle of the field is Lamalu. Lamalu with extra space at midfield, tries to navigate back inside and gets to the 46-yard line.
37-yard pickup. Lamalu's been effective. I guess he heard me mention all the playmakers like Harris and Fonts, and he said, well, what about me? I believe 4 or 5 catches already for Tanelu Lamalu, and he is a true weapon, the junior. So next year, he'll be the go-to playmaker on the outside. This year, he splits a little bit with Fonts, but this Oxnard offense is rolling right now, and with just over 3 minutes left, you're now fresh. You were able to sit on the sidelines for 7+ minutes of game time, and now this offense is just chomping at the bit.
And now here's Harris up the middle, tries to bruise his way forward and strong arms his way to the 36-yard line, almost a gain of 10 yards.
And you said earlier, stinging the opposition. This time they're trying to sting and then swell this defense. And they've been effective at that so far. Now you're looking at it second and short. Time continues to wind down. You're up 14 points. This is exactly the type of script that Coach Marino would have drawn up if he was able to just script this game so far. It's been almost a perfect offensive game.
Jones with the shotgun to his left, Harris. It will be a handoff to Harris. Tap dances in the backfield, cuts right across the 30 to the 29-yard line nearest the right hash for 8 yards.
Great gain. You only needed 1, picked up 8. And unlike Ventura, they're inside the 30. Oxnard's been good at being able to then punch it into the black end zones here at Larrabee Stadium, the black and gold. And for the Yellowjackets, that's been the major difference. Jones and this offense, when they get inside the 30, they're getting 7.
And Caleb Barajas, the starting right tackle for the Cougars, now lining up as the nose guard, running the zero technique with 2 minutes remaining in the half, maybe trying to slow down Harris's run game. Pressure left side. Jones didn't see it at all, and he is absolutely mollywopped by Josiah Bowers, the junior.
Yeah, the whip defensive end, they call him, and he did whip the quarterback on that one. Just absolute blindside, a drill player into the ground in Jayden Jones. The first time tonight that Jones has been hit and taken down in that backfield, and I don't care whether you're wearing bright yellow shoes, red shoes, black shoes, whatever it is, you're going to fly onto the grass and into the green turf when you have a player on the blind side come untouched like Bowers did there.
A loss of 10 yards, and Jones turning towards Coach Moreno for the play call with 1:15 remaining in the first half of action. Right to left motion for Lamalu. It will be a deuce set towards the left side of the field. Jones guns it over the middle, reeled in after the dart pass. Lamalu to the 20-yard line for 17, bringing up a 3rd down and 2.
Great job, just a post, able to get in there, find that soft spot, pick up a huge gain, and clock's now under a minute, and you got back a ton of yardage, and it's now 3rd and 1.
With the timeout remaining, mind you.
A great timing route on that.
Yes, for this Oxnard team. Left side of the formation is Fonts, the senior wideout. Harris cuts right side, pulled down from behind, short of the 15-yard line. It's enough to move the chains.
Yeah, 40 seconds left. Clock will stop temporarily. Jones has been very efficient tonight, and now Oxnard will use its final timeout. So 0 timeouts remaining here with just 40 ticks on the clock here in the second quarter, Cam.
And for Jones, he's really utilized all of his weapons, whether it be Harris, not so much in the passing game, but relying on him to use his feet. Fonts, Lamalu. He's targeted Vasquez multiple times. We've seen a lot of great composure from that young quarterback, even when the pocket's breaking down.
But quite possibly the biggest play of this game so far was that little screen pass to Harris where it was 35 yards. It's almost an extended run in reality, but that was a drop-off where he was able to go those 35 yards, pick up quality, and then the 15-yard penalty really changed things because before you know it, Fonts was in the end zone from 21 yards out after that. So it has been, as you mentioned, balance early on, whether it's Jones, Harris, Fonts, Lamalu, even Vasquez being a bit chippy towards the line of scrimmage. It's been a great game so far for Oxnard. And for the Pacific View League, knowing the fact that you're trying to beat one of your rivals, one of the teams in your county that you do not like. Oxnard and Ventura, there is some heat between these two coaches, between these two teams, I should say. And overall, whether you're Coach Marino in Oxnard or you're Coach Garcia in Ventura, you want to win this game because you don't necessarily love the guys playing on the other side.
96th all-time game between these two clubs. Jones throws it towards the left pylon, but there is a flag down on the field near the offensive line of scrimmage, and flipping his arms into the air, Juan Ramos.
Yeah, another one
right guard.
Another one where the flag comes out in the backfield, which normally does result in holding, but still a lot of time left. There's 33 seconds left. That doesn't necessarily kill you on first down.
So moving back 10 paces approximately, bringing up a first down and 20 from the 30-yard line of the Cougars with 33 seconds to go. You can do a clock-preserving play, maybe another quick out route before attacking the middle. You just want to ensure that you have maybe one or two more strikes towards the end zone.
Yeah, I think also right now, too, you can go near the sidelines, and they'll probably give you the 6-7 yards.
Jones, 5-step drop, lobs it over the middle of the field, tipped up into the air. Fonz was the intended target. However, the ball knocked into the air, and saying he came down with the rock is Marcus Bustios.
30 yards. How about that? What a wild turn of events. Sometimes when it's your night, it's your night.
And Trevor Coots, the senior, irate, slapping his hands together, and he can't believe it. Bustios with a fantastic heads-up play, sprawling, sprayed in the end zone, and allowed the ball to fall into his mitts and then tumbled with it, and then showed the officials that he had caught it.
That works. In reality, as long as you have the ball in the end zone and you're on offense, it's going to be 6. And Bustios proved it there. Very awkward. Definitely not the best throw of the night for Jayden Jones, but it did result in the touchdown.
Estrada, PAT, up and good in a 21-0 contest as Oxnard, the Yellowjackets, up 3 possessions on the road at Larrabee Stadium at Ventura High School. And again, if you are just joining the program here on VCStar.com and the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week alongside Kit Brown, Cam Molina with you. At the end of one quarter of action, it was 14-0 for this Yellow Jacket club, but the Cougars really dictating the time of possession and controlling the clock, going with a methodical run-first approach on their opening drive of the second quarter, whittled off about 7 minutes off the clock, but Oxnard able to strike before the first half bell sounds.
That is why time of possession, and that is why total yards are not the biggest stats in terms of football. It is about yards per play. It is about touchdowns, red zone efficiency, getting into the red zone, and in all of those levels, turnovers, it has been Oxnard here tonight. Very fortunate that resulted in a touchdown and not a turnover. But overall, Ventura, you can move the ball between the 20s all you want. You have to find a way to punch it in when you get inside, and that's been the major difference between these two teams.
Estrada with his periwinkle cleat kicks it to Kapler at the 10-yard line, tries to dart along the seams at the 30 to the 35, carrying multiple Yellow Jackets across the 40, short of his own 45-yard line. And for this Cougars team, 1 timeout remaining, 19.7 seconds on the clock, and trailing by 21. I think you have to kind of take a shot here to at least try to mitigate the score on the board.
Yeah, if you only return that to the 25, maybe even the 30, you just run one play, hope to break it, go to the half. Instead now you have viable options. I don't necessarily know what the arm is of your quarterback, Tanner. You'd have to think you pick up 10 or 15 here. He can throw 1 or 2 into the end zone. With 19 seconds left and 1 timeout, you do have options here to make a Hail Mary or get 1 or 2 shots into the end zone. Great return.
Rodriguez and Herrera, the 2 wide split. Hand off to Kapler, and he will just try to mosey along the left side before being bushwhacked from behind by Jacob Murillo, the senior.
Timeout.
And a timeout used by the Cougars, 13 seconds remaining, maybe just closer, shorter field for Tanner to work with, essentially.
And I like that timeout there because I think the defense is going to almost concede at least 5 or 6. And the way Kapler runs, you make 1 or 2 guys miss, maybe it turns into 15 or 20. So now you're near midfield. You don't have any timeouts left, but the clock stops. If you get a first down, you're right near a first down. And they'll give you probably 5 or 6 yards on an out route. If I'm Ventura right now, that's what I'm calling, right here to the boundary or maybe even top of the screen. Look for something simple outside, pick up 5 or 6, move those sticks, and then you can set up one shot deep, and then if you don't get it there, throw a Hail Mary. Heck, if one team can get lucky in the end zone, why can't the other?
Yes. And Bustillos catching that 30-yard tip pass for a touchdown as the ball was catapulted from Jones, the junior quarterback for the Yellowjackets. Fonz with a rushing touchdown and Harris with a rushing touchdown as well. And a quick substitution at Cade Ledesma scampers off the field. 3 wide receivers spaced out towards the right side of the set. Tanner lofts it up. Rodriguez just outside of his catch radius.
They're trying. That's now 3 down the bottom of our screen that they've tried to get to Rodriguez. 2 in the end zone. 1 here that if completed would have been in the red zone. Clearly, that's the side he likes throwing his deep ball right now, and the coaching staff knows it. And also Rodriguez, as we've mentioned, he's an experienced go-to receiver, but that's now 3 that have been a bit too far for the senior wideout.
8.2 seconds remaining in a 21-point lead for the Yellowjackets. In their last 20 Pacific View League contests, they've allowed less than 11 points per game.
That's pretty good.
And pitching a shutout right now. Under center, Tanner, he'll just hand off to Kapler as he tries to gain a little bit of real estate pad of stats, and that will move the chains and stop the clock at 2.7 seconds.
You can spike it here now. You have to hurry up and spike, but you can get a spike in before the clock winds down, and instead it will be halftime. They did not get a play in, and that is the half. So clearly a bit of a frustration by Coach Garcia and this Ventura staff in that they are unable to get closer than this to maybe throw a Hail Mary, but it was all Oxnard. I know you mentioned Cam moving the ball up and down the field, time of possession, but ultimately it's about what you do when you get close to those pylons, and big-time players made big-time plays in that first half. Harris, Fonts, Lamalu, Jones, those guys were way more efficient than the players on the other side. And for Ventura in the second half, they're going to have to change that script very quickly.
Kent, that is a perfect way to summarize the first half of action. 21-0, the Oxnard Yellowjackets lead in the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. At Ventura Orthopedics, they offer state-of-the-art technology to ensure their patients receive the best care available. Always staying abreast of the latest developments in orthopedic medicine, the doctors and surgeons have been among the first in the community to perform many advanced orthopedic treatments, including total hip replacement. Learn more at VenturaOrtho.com today and let them help you get back in the game. And we will step aside and return with the second half of action here from Larrabee Stadium at Ventura High School. And a merry welcome back to the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. It's a Pacific View League matchup as the Oxnard Yellowjackets lead the likes of the home Ventura Cougars 21-0 as the second half of play is set to begin here on VCStar.com. And once again, a merry welcome in. If you are just joining us alongside Kent Brown and our stupendous producer, Anthony Plasicia, Cam Molina with you here as well. In that first half of action for the Oxnard Yellowjackets, Kent just able to capitalize on many opportunities in Ventura County's 20-yard line, really doing a fantastic job capitalizing in the red zone.
Two quarterbacks, Jayden Jones and Carson Wallace, or Jordan Tanner, I should say. These were guys that Carson Wallace got benched. Jayden Tanner came in. Nothing really changed when they got inside the 30, and that was the difference. Jayden Jones, A plus, maybe A if you really wanted to grade and you were really like a mean teacher that didn't want to give your student the A plus to hope that he gets better. Just a great first half. Xavier Harris, such a weapon. We saw it on that 35-yard screen pass after the long touchdown that was called back because of a hold. He caught it near the line of scrimmage, made three guys miss inside, got outside. Fortunate that his receiver didn't block in the back, beat the receiver away, beat the cornerback down the field, huge gain. And that was really the momentum builder because after that, it looked like this is probably the night for the Yellowjackets. Yes. And then it was 14-0. Here comes Ventura back down, knocking at the door, and we see Jordan Tanner. He throws the deep pass to Zach Rodriguez. Rodriguez is open. It's a little bit too long, incomplete. They tried later, another deep pass incomplete. Unable to take advantage of potential scoring opportunities. And then when things are going your way, they're really going your way. Bustillos catches it in the end zone after it deflects up, and it was not a great pass by Jones. But sometimes the ball falls your way, and tonight with the Yellowjackets, it's been the difference inside that 30-yard line. And this is the Ventura team we mentioned going into tonight. Seniors across the board on so many starting positions, defense and offense, and yet when they've needed to make that play that seniors normally do, they have fell short here at home. So far, Cam, it has been a special night for Oxnard and a really disappointing night for the Cougars. They have to turn it around very quickly here to start this third quarter.
And a brief look at some statistics. Those of the backfield. Dane Kapler, the senior for the Cougars, 14 carries, 78 rushing yards. And for Xavier Harris, the senior running back for the Yellowjackets, 8 carries, 47 rushing yards, 1 reception, 35 yards on that previously mentioned screenplay here on the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. The Yellowjackets and Cougars going at it. Ventura Orthopedics is proud to support the collegiate and high school athletic teams in the community. The doctors serve as team physicians for most of the high school and college sports programs in the area. Whether assisting with game injuries or cheering for players from the sidelines, the doctors at Ventura Orthopedics consider it a privilege to be a part of the team. Estrada with the ball on the neon green tee will kick from left to right. And the Yellowjackets will have Zach Rodriguez, Dane Kapler, and Daniel Gutierrez back there. And Kapler will take it inside his 10-yard line, breaks an arm tackle across the 20 to the 25 and down to the 27-yard line for a good 18-yard return.
I don't think it's too early to go away from the running game. I know you're down 21 points. I understand you probably need to put the ball in the air a little bit more, but Kapler had a good first half. He was good on first down on that final possession, really until they got the ball near midfield with just under 20 seconds left. It was Kapler getting good gains. I feel like if you don't score this possession and then it's 28-0, you probably have to abandon the run. But for now, I want to see what this offensive line, led by so many seniors, is capable of doing with the senior tailback who's done very well.
Carson Wallace will remain sidelined. Jordan Tanner, the junior quarterback, will remain out on the field and run under center with Kapler, the deep back, and 2 wings toward the right side of the formation offset. Kapler left side, ball jarred loose. It's dislodged. Kapler tries to scoop it up. Ball remains loose. Picked up at the 14-yard line by, I believe, Jayden Cline before he was whacked.
That was a hit in the backfield, and a great job by Jayden Cline to just come up with the ball. Ends up being a loss of 13 yards. They're fortunate that wasn't 6 the other way, and I just bragged about Kapler saying he needs to get the ball. He didn't have anywhere to go. The second he got that ball, it were 2 defenders right there, and what a start for Oxnard's defense. The offense I graded at an A or A+. That was probably the best defensive player of the night by the Yellowjackets.
Cline the up back towards the left side of the formation. Here's Tanner on a dart, and it is short. It almost went with a one-hopper as he looked towards the seam And slow to get up is a receiver for the Cougars.
And now you're faced with a 3rd and 23. Not a lot in the playbook for a backup quarterback when you're 3rd and this far. The defense, great play on 1st down. 2nd down, it would have been a tough completion, but one you hope to make. And now 3rd and 23. There are so many options defensively, not a lot offensively here in this situation. A great start for Oxnard here, and if they can get a 3 and out, it should be superb field position again for the Yellowjackets.
Zach Rodriguez will work to the top of the formation with Kapler towards the right hip of Tanner, the junior quarterback. Cline in motion, left to right again. He'll reset and flare out to the 10-yard line. Tanner, head fake. Keeps his eyes downfield, looks for open receiver, throws on the run, and it's short. Intercepted at the 47-yard line. Moving the ball towards his right side is Lamalu. Lamalu trying to juke back inside, maintaining his balance and stumbling forward. And it's actually Jayden Franco, the junior safety, making the play.
There's a flag in the backfield way down by the 10-yard line on the top of your screen. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But that time it was the strong safety, Jayden Franco, just being able to track that down. Great coverage. I understand why you throw the ball deep there. There was no one open short, and Tanner has to take that risk on 3rd and 23, but that ball was well short. And it looks like the refs are going to call holding on the defense.
And will remain Oxnard football, though.
Yeah, it was post.
On the return, yes.
Exactly,
Hold on the return.
Post-possession.
So we'll see Jayden Jones once again. Had a miraculous touchdown pass to Bustios. The ball was tipped into the air. He targeted his primary senior receiver and Aaron Fonts. Ball just wiggled in the air and fell seamlessly into the hands of the wideout and allowed the Yellowjackets to extend their lead to 21-0.
Yeah, you know the night is going your way when the worst ball you throw ends up being a long touchdown. That's a good night when you could say, the worst pass I had, it still resulted in a 30-yard play that led to a score. So, and on this one, that's one of the rare plays where the defense becomes the offense, and then you get the holding on the return. But everything's going Oxnard's way, and you got to think Jayden Jones has a little bit of jump in his step right now, up 21-0, knowing he can almost put that kill shot in right now if you can go and get 6 on this possession. This Ventura defense, they've been pretty fresh because it has been a lot of Ventura's offense moving the ball, but right now coming out of the half, you did not want to see a 3 and out.
And another short field to work with from the 38-yard line of the Cougars in terms of scoring. Font scored on a 21-yard rushing touchdown. Harris, who bobbles the football, had an 11-yard rushing touchdown, and now freelancing is Jones as he tries to cut back and forth and at least get back to the line of scrimmage. He won't drop for a loss of 3.
Yeah, maybe that's the strategy for the defense. Just hope the offense can't get a clean snap, and then you can come up with it. That time, a little bit fortunate for Oxnard to go in there and, get the ball. A lot of times that can go under your shoulder, over your shoulder, above your head, and instead it's a loss of about 1.5 yards. Clearly, they're in good field position, but that is a win for the defense, and they didn't really do a lot about it on that play.
The nose of the football facing west at the 39-yard line of the Cougars. Deep pitch, Harris trying to work outside the numbers at the 35-30. Has a little seam to work with before he surges out of bounds, shy of the 25-yard line at the 26 for 12 yards.
Yeah, a nice gain, gets the 1st down, and a good heads-up run where he just saw one lane and went for it. You don't have to go east-west too often if you are that fast like you are with Xavier Harris, and instead just take the yardage. If it's 6 or 7, cool. Instead, he picks up over 10 yards, move the chains, 1st down. And again, we've emphasized all game, when they get down near here, they've been very effective.
Harris to the left hip of Jones, sporting the knee-high red socks, and he's pulled down to the backfield, but a flag comes out. I don't know if that was a horse collar tackle, if there was holding on the offensive line, and will be holding on the offensive line.
Yep.
And Coach Garcia, I believe, accepts to make it a 1st and 20.
Well, and as I said, even longer, because remember in high school football, it's from the spot. It's not from the initial down and distance, so it'll be tacked off from where it happened. So it is going to be 1st and 20 plus most likely, as it looks like they're going to make it 1st and 22. So big penalty. It does change a lot, but the way Jayden Jones is throwing the football and the way these receivers are getting open, if you're going to commit these type of penalties, at least commit them early down and distance. 1st down, they seem to bounce back okay. 3rd and 4th down, you can't pull that off.
Under 10 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter of action, 21-0 for the Yellowjackets. And as you said, Kent, ball will be placed at the 40-yard line of the Cougars for a 1st and 22nd to go. And toward the top of the formation is the senior Fonts, who checked in at 172 pounds. Bunch right set. Play action. Jones scans downfield. All day to work with. Reading a book in the backfield as he's at the 50. Launches it over the middle. Coming back to the football and reeling in is Lamalu. Lamalu across the 20 and down at the 17-yard line for a 23-yard pickup.
Yeah, you need 22. You get 23. And Lamalu, I watched him. I started looking who's open. Nobody was open at first. And then Lamalu actually was about the 10-yard line, went all the way up to the 20, ran 10 yards back, got the ball, turned back upfield, shoulder down, picks up the first down. So he just found a wide open spot on the field, found the quarterback's attention, picked up 23 yards, and that has been the story of the night. These playmakers for Oxnard are finding ways to get the ball downfield.
Ayala motion from right to left. Lamalu, second on the team last year in receptions. Here he is again with Harris as the lead block. Tries to cut up at the 15-yard line, but good ankle tackle by Camilo Avilés.
A very nice tackle by Avilés, the cornerback coming in, the junior who replaced Michael Marin, one of the starting corners, and instead, if he doesn't get that, it's a clear first down. He was able to chop him at the knees. It's still a nice first down pickup, but it does keep the Yellowjackets outside of the 10.
8:30 left in this third frame of action as Jones and company again will work from the shotgun set. Lamalu towards the bottom of the formation, handoff to Harris, stymied at the 10, and he is ushered backwards even after the whistles blew. Trevor Kuntz making a statement, pushing Harris to the ground back at the 16-yard line before progress will give Harris about 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and 2, a decent run. You're inside the 10 now, and the big guy is coming in to play some of that nose guard, Caleb Barajas. We've seen that tonight a few times. The starting D tackle, typically for Ventura, Chili Tanner, he's out, so all of a sudden you have Farbard Mosinian coming in to be that starter at the nose guard, and then in relief, Caleb Barajas, the junior right tackle, has to play a little bit of defense, and they're going to need him to rise to the occasion here, knowing how good Harris is in this running game.
3rd and 3 to go. Harris will motion upwards. Ayala will go to the left, and a flag comes in at the last second.
Another pre-snap penalty. Definitely not the sharpest of football games here tonight for a midseason game.
Donovan Aber, the junior, was the one coming in motion just as the flag was thrown. So going back 5 yards, ball spotted at the 14-yard line of the Cougars on a 3rd down and about 7 or 8 to go.
The way this offense is rolling, though, probably 2 downs here. I guess you could bring in a kicker, but on 21-0, you might want to just put the pedal to the metal.
Logan Simmons, the senior center, lines up over the seams of the football, and a timeout used by Oxnard with 7:24 remaining in this third quarter of action here at the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week, where 20 doctors with 5 locations in Ventura County, all with one goal in mind, to get you back in the game. Ventura Orthopedics specializes in sports medicine, general orthopedics, pain management, pediatric, and MRI. Ventura Orthopedics offers exceptional therapy services featuring 26 highly skilled physical, and occupational therapists. Learn more at venturaortho.com or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280.
And also just another, we've been giving some potential high school scores tonight, but also we are in Southern California, the Dodgers playing in Game 2 of the divisional series. Clayton Kershaw against Steven Strasburg, and right now it's top of the 6th. The Nats up 3-0. So Kershaw about as good a pitcher as we've seen in our generation, but in the postseason, a little bit left to be desired in Strasburg. Those are 2 of the best aces in all of the National League, and right now we'll see if the Dodgers can bounce back.
And well, Walker Buehler had a sterling performance the other night as well, leading the Dodgers to a win.
See, we just don't know football. We can talk a few sports.
We can freelance and do some other stuff. From the gun, 4 wide receivers set, over to the left side on a deep dig route, moving the chains for a first down.
Nice
John
catch.
Vasquez, the junior, picks up the first.
Great catch, and a really good awareness by the wide receiver to just be able to make sure he gets his hands under the football there. It was not one of the best throws of the night from Jones. It kind of started the
Nosedive
right at the end, and great job by the receiver. Get your hands under it, move the chains, first and goal at the 3. And what have we said all night? These playmakers, Jones has been good, but it's not like his playmakers haven't helped him. And now adding to that is another weapon.
Well, last time this club was inside the 10, it was a handoff to Harris for a touchdown. He's flexed out at the 5-yard line towards the bottom of your screen. In motion, Fonts has a little bit of daylight to work with, and he will just waltz into the end zone from 3 yards away. His second rushing touchdown of the night, putting the Yellowjackets up by 27.
Yeah, Fonts' second touchdown of the night. He also had the big 54-yarder that was called back because of a holding penalty, and it was all Yellowjackets there. And really, third and fourth down, they've been perfect all night, and that was the major difference here once again. That time, you send them in motion, hand it off. You read the defense, and if you feel like your guy can get into space and get to the pylon, you pull that and you give it to him. And just a great offensive possession. Well,
and Estrada does not get the kick off as the hold was somewhat butchered by Fonts. Snap was kind of low to begin with anyways, so with 6:48 remaining in the third quarter, it's 27-0 in favor of the visiting Oxnard Yellowjackets on a drive that went 7 plays, 38 yards, lasted 3 minutes, 58 seconds, and resulted in a Fonts 3-yard rushing touchdown. And you've said it multiple times tonight, Ken, utilizing the weapons that they have and the talent on this team. The Yellowjackets have great talent and high-caliber players all around, and using them not only on the run game but the pass game as well.
And I think what that possession also did is you want to be able to break the back of the defense there. And when you continue to get third downs and fourth downs and you move the chains, that was not the typical 28 yards and then 27 yards and then a score. It was a lot of 4 yards, 6 yards, 10 yards, a couple penalties move you back. You still get the first downs. Remember, there was first and 22. Next thing you know, it's first and 10, 23-yard gain. So just an excellent job. The composure has been there all night from the Oxnard offense. And when you need points, if you're Ventura going into the third quarter, you commit the turnover, another short field, and Oxnard capitalizes.
That one is a bullet kicked by Estrada through the back of the end zone. It took a happy little hop at the 5-yard line.
If you can pull that off in theory every time, it would be worth it. Because there's almost no way a return man's going to try to get that ball.
No, it's so low hanging.
But you also run the effect of it just hitting somebody at like the 30 or 40 and then them falling on it, or it goes out of bounds.
Right.
But that's one, if you could somehow pull that off, that would be a heck of a kickoff. But it is risky. I'm sure that's not generally the way you would design it. But let's see who's in a quarterback. And it once again is Jordan Tanner, down 27-0.
So we could speculate that potentially Willis's night might be done.
Could
Tanner
be.
will come out in the gun with 6:48 remaining in the third quarter at the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week on VCStar.com. Forward wide receiver set, offset. Coming in motion from left to right is Vasquez. Tanner feels the pressure to wide receiver screen. Caught by Rodriguez across the 25-30, 35-40. Galloping 50. Cuts back inside 45 before he's stopped across the 40 at the 38-yard line. He goes for 42 yards on the wide receiver screen.
Really good job, Rodriguez, showing that speed. He has utilized his speed in the passing game. It's just been short, as I said a couple times, from hooking up for a touchdown. And that time, one of the biggest plays of the night. And now it's time for Ventura. You're in plus territory again. You need some points, but a great start to this possession. Tanner to Rodriguez.
And the junior only had 12 pass attempts entering today's contest. So for Coach Garcia, just make him comfortable. Put him in situations where you can use your talent and your speedy receivers and allow them to use their abilities to get in the open field. Kapler, the deep back. Rodriguez in motion. Handoff Kapler, left side. Bruises his way across the 40. And the Cougars offensive linemen try to jump and push the pile forward, but he's shy the 35 at the 36-yard line, 2-yard gain.
I also liked how much of a gamer Rodriguez shows because he just had that 42-yard scamper. More often than not, the wide receiver comes out of the game. They need a little breathing room. Not only does he stay in the game, he goes in motion and fakes the sweep. He's just the guy, he's like, look, I know I'm going to put some minutes in tonight. I'm going to run around a lot. I am not coming out of this game. And we mentioned special teams, the kicking specialist, defense, the free safety, and on offense, everything you need.
Well, his 14th catch of the year, and that 42-yard hookup puts him over 300 yards receiving on this season. Tanner, pressure coming, throws it away, and looks like he was outside the pocket, so no intentional grounding. That one goes incomplete, bringing up a 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, the defensive line wins on that one. That time it was Carlos Barboza. They brought a little corner blitz, and then also one of the defensive linemen, I believe Damian Reyes, was also in the backfield. So overall, a good job. You not only got it on the front level, you got it on the back level. Jayden Franco, one of the safeties, was in the backfield. That was just a really well-designed blitz, and they've done well on those. We saw that inside blitz earlier work. Now they're bringing some corner blitzes, and it's just been an effective night. We've given a lot of credit to offense. That's usually what we do in media. We almost default by offensive credit. But when you're pitching a shutout, the defense has definitely earned a lot of credit tonight.
We try to quantify everything, too, by statistics, and that doesn't always tell the story. Tanner under center. Kapler, the feature back. Handoff to Rodriguez on the end around across the 35. Maintains his balance and stops shy of the 30 at the 31-yard line. A 5-yard scamper, and this is going to be 4-down territory.
Yes, absolutely. It's 4th down. They're right in that dreaded 30-yard zone that they've been all night. And now we're seeing a couple power players enter into the mix here for Ventura. Coming back in, Dorian Dawson, who I said is listed at quarterback, and then Nick Lansky, who they use as that kind of shift, not a move tight end, but actually on the line, like the old school tight ends, hence why they call them tight end, because you're tight to the line. So Lansky and Dawson in again.
Tanner, handoff goes nowhere. Franco, who came up with the interception on the opening drive of this second half for the Oxnard Yellowjackets, comes up with a big stop in the backfield and a turnover on down to 4:39 remaining in the third quarter of action, and a 27-point lead for the visiting Yellowjackets.
Yeah, another time you get in plus territory and you leave with 0 points. This defense for the Yellowjackets rise to the occasion once again, take over up 27-0. We're in the latter stages, 4:39 remaining here in the third, and it has just been a great team effort all around by Oxnard. And with Jayden Jones and this experienced group of playmakers, they're trying to continue to move the ball, get points. And also, this is a team in your league. You want to make that statement in your first league game.
Delayed handoff. Harris, plenty of space to work with across the 45, lowers his shoulder and plows to the 49-yard line for an 18-yard gain.
Flags down, though. That time Harris had a lot of open space to the left, but that's probably because 1 or 2 players were holding.
And Jones stands back at the 30, knowing the football is coming back after the hold call. And that's the 4th hold of the night by this Yellow Jacket crew. And they have Pacifica next week. They're probably going to be 6-0 after tonight. They were leading 31-7 earlier this evening. So to face an undefeated team at home, you have to be mistake-free nearly to come up with that big victory.
Yeah, not only that, but then you also look at like Rio Mesa. You still have Buena. You have other teams that, you have to be cleaner. Now, what they've done a good job of when they've had these penalties, they've come right back and then made a big play. And I like the heady composure of Jayden Jones. You need that. But, yes, you don't want to commit those type of penalties in your biggest games.
Trips right. Harris will try to sneak to the left side of the line, but he's pushed in the backfield at the 30-yard line. And if anything, a 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, 2nd and long. That was a good defensive effort on that play. But again, clock's your friend when you're up 27-0, and the Yellowjackets don't have to be in any sort of hurry.
Speaking of the clock, under 4 minutes remaining in the third, 27-0 the score. Offset receivers towards the left side of the field. Harris peeling to the right side, and an inaccurate throw made by Jones as he looked towards Lamalu, who has been splendid tonight. Honestly, he's made some great adjustments in the open field. There was a big 3rd down scenario before Fonts ran in for 6 points, where Lamalu came back to the football and picked up 23 yards to keep the play and the drive alive.
Yeah, and that time it was just too far for him. He tried to lead his receiver. He overthrew it. It was a safe throw because there was no defensive player at the sideline, so you just hope your receiver can get to the ball. One of the rare errant throws of the night, but again, it was a 2nd down throw. It doesn't really kill them.
A light breeze coming from the east, blowing towards the west, where the sun has already set here at Larrabee Stadium, and hitting his knees and reeling in the football, Fred Vasquez III, and that sets up a 4th down.
Clock moves. You're up 27. It was a safe throw. You weren't beat up on the play. The last thing you want to see is your quarterback try to scramble. He gets hit up 27-0, and now instead of you building towards your 2nd league game next week, there's an injury concern. Make the smart throw. If you happen to beat 4 or 5 defenders, cool. If not, you send the punt team in. There haven't been many of these all night on either side, but a punt's still not a loss at this point of the stage when you're up 27-zip late in the third quarter. You can live with punts if you're Oxnard right now.
Anthony Placencia, Kent Brown, Cam Molina with you here for the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week on VCStar.com. And a wiggling kick in the air, has a little bit of backspin to it, smooches the 35 before trickling back to the 33-yard line. Rodriguez decides not to touch it, but Vasquez, the third, does. So the Cougars, once again, have the ball near their 30-yard line, and it's on the opposite side of the field near the 30 where they've been stalling out.
Rodriguez that time wanted the fair catch, then he was kind of went by it too far, he tried moving back, and then eventually just bailed out. That was a smart decision. Probably, in reality, just should have just let the punt drop and not been close to the ball. But as I said, sometimes it doesn't quite go your way. Rodriguez has been the star of the quarter for this Ventura team, and they're keeping, and I like this at this point, you keep Tanner in, you see what he's made out of, and you learn it's now an experience for this Cougars team for these last 12 minutes and 40 seconds.
Tanner peels right, finds an open target in Cline, and he tries to go near the 40, but he stopped at the 38 after a 6-yard gain.
Yeah, Jayden Franco did a really good job coming up and making the hit on Cline. And I liked what I see out of these safeties. The defensive backs have been great all night. And I'm going to give a little love to this Oxnard defense. We've been giving the offense all the love, but Isaiah Garcia, Jacob Murillo, Damian Reyes, Jalen Lankilde, Trust Hunt, Anthony Lopez, Titus Hutchinson, Jarrell Samuel, Carlos Barboza, Jayden Franco, RJ Aranda. Those guys have been tremendous start to finish here so far.
Rodriguez working towards your bottom of the screen against Carlos Barboza, the DB, in man-to-man coverage. Handoff up the middle, and Kapler has enough for the first after a 5-yard slugfest up the middle. And the Cougars pounced on Kapler. He did a great job carrying a few defenders, and he's really illustrated his strength tonight, not only in the ground game, but here and there through the air and in the pass protection as well.
You know, one of the new additions to this Ventura team this year, they were such a veteran-led team. He came over from Malibu High School after the misfortune of those wildfires up in Malibu, transferred over here and has been a model teammate, a guy that's come in hungry to play, hungry to help this program get to that next level. And this is a Ventura team that's hungry for wins. They're still trying to learn how to win league games and have these veterans lead to something else down the season.
Eric Maxwell in the backfield. Tanner tries to step up, but he is sacked by Jayden Franco, who moved from safety to linebacker with an injury on this Yellowjacket squad. He was third in tackles entering today with 32 and now has 3 interceptions on the year after he picked off Tanner earlier in this quarter. So an interception, a sack, multiple tackles. He almost nearly has the triple threat, almost a hat trick in essence. Under a minute remaining in this third quarter, 27-0. Still a sizable lead for the Yellowjackets on the road in Pacific View League play. 2 receivers lined up about 5 yards apart towards the left side of the field. Dawson comes in motion. Play action. Tanner, pressure coming. Throws it right side, and it is picked up by Maxwell, and he's down at the 40-yard line. 2-yard gain, and that will bring up a third down and still 12 to go with Trust Hunt making the tackle.
Trust Hunt was not fooled on that play. They tried to get the defense all going to the left side where Dawson was headed, or the right side, I should say, the formation. And Trust Hunt stood his ground. The big defensive tackle made the play in the open field. And anytime you get a defensive tackle making an open field tackle against a running back, that is a huge win for the defense.
1 more quarter to go in this Pacific View League contest. The Oxnard Yellowjackets currently pitching a shutout 27-0 on the road against the Ventura Cougars on the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. Ventura Orthopedics, keep in mind, has one goal: to get you back in the game. The doctors are well versed in the special orthopedic needs of both the amateur and professional athlete. Many of their physicians currently serve as team doctors for most of the area high schools and community colleges. 20 doctors, 26 physical therapists, all with an athlete's best health performance in mind. Learn more at VenturaOrtho.com today or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280. And this is VCStar.com. Anthony Placencia, Kent Brown, Cam Molina with you here on VCStar.com once again. And 12 minutes remaining. 27-0 the score, and the Yellowjackets have been able to dictate pretty much everything in this ballgame, Kent.
Yeah, I would say that the one sort of saving grace or, maybe a light at the end of the tunnel for Ventura is they've moved the ball fine. The difference is clearly they haven't been able to get the points when they move it closest to the end zone, and that's been the difference. The line play on the offensive line, I feel like, has done a relatively speaking good job. The defensive line, though, they haven't been dominant up front, and that's allowed Jayden Jones and the offensive line for the Yellowjackets to move the football as pretty much as well as they've needed to. So I think that must improve as the season continues, but you're right. Generally speaking, Oxnard has been the better team from start until now.
Cline nearest to the right tackle. Tanner shakes off one defender. Continues to roll outside the pocket. Wheels to his left. Guns it right side. And no signal yet. Incomplete.
Yeah. He caught it, just wasn't able to get the feet down. A nice effort there by Tanner, a nice effort by the receiver on the side. I think it was
Michael Zapata.
There you go. So overall, a good effort, but they fell short again.
So a 4th down and 13, and Rodriguez is back to punt. And Lamalu, the punt returner, at the right hash mark of his own 35-yard line. And the Yellowjackets going to send the house. High snap. Rodriguez brings it down, and it is deflected into the air. A hop at the 39-yard line, scooped up by Rodriguez before he's stoned at the 40-yard line. And that will halt the regression of the football. So at the 40-yard line of the Cougars is where the Oxnard Yellowjackets will start their first offensive possession of this 4th quarter of action, and everything's just been going right for this bunch.
Familiar territory starting in Cougars territory. That has been a routine from the start of this game. Remember, the opening play, there were 2 different special teams penalties by Ventura that allowed Oxnard to start past midfield, and it has been routine tonight where they have been starting with great field position and clearly scoring 27 points. They've capitalized well on that.
Here's Harris chugging along to the 35-yard line. 5-yard pickup. Respectable first down carry by the senior. And in the offseason, Kent, working with Lorenzo Booker, a South Section Titan really, in the Federation's career. He leads in points, 882 rushing touchdowns with 137. Second all-time in rushing yards with just about 8,500 yards. A great guy to learn from. And Xavier Harris' talents on display tonight in receiving and rushing, just like right here as he lowers his shoulder across the 35 to the 34-yard line and bounces forward for 2.
Yeah, anytime you can train, you can work with guys that have done it at this level on a high regard, college level high regard, pro level getting it done, getting touches at the NFL level, that's a win. And Lorenzo Booker was, I believe, the first ever person to have a commitment live on SportsCenter back in the day, chose the Florida State Seminoles, left the West Coast, and that's not a bad guy to try to learn and model your career after.
Another run right side, and Harris goes to about the 30-yard line. Actually, Antonio Marshall Perez scampers forward.
Yeah, Jayden Jones still win. You know what I did first? I just looked at the shoes. I figured not every quarterback on the team has the bright yellow shoes, so it would have been funny if I looked up and it was John Vasquez, the backup, and he had the same shoes. Then I would have thought it has to be some sort of team meeting unity thing. But no, it's Jones.
Marshall Perez, left side, fights forward, and that will be enough to move the chains.
A tough run. One of the toughest one-yard runs you'll see, but he only needed one. So a good job by Antonio Marshall Perez, the sophomore. And again, he's a guy, when you look at Harris, you look at Ayala, those are the backfield mates, the fullback and the tailback. Marshall Perez probably the starter next year.
Yes.
So there's a pretty good chance we're going to see a lot of number 10 as a junior in 2020. But for now, it's good for him to get in and get some league play experience as a varsity member.
Here he is again, tries to ricochet off the left hip of his center Simmons and is stopped in the backfield, a loss of 1. And having Harris as a mentor even, just kind of waiting in the wings and learning the process, going into practice, giving it your all, giving it high intensity, high effort, and then coming out and executing, he has a great guy to learn from.
Yeah, and a smart guy to learn from. If he's getting Columbia offers, I know I can't vouch for you. I know I'm not smart enough to get an Ivy League offer, so I would say he's clearly a guy that if you're going through film, you're working on, you're behind him in every practice, every snap, every rep, you're going to learn a lot, and he's going to teach you a lot.
Up the middle, Marshall Perez to the 25-yard line, and the clock continues to slip away. 8:45 remaining in this fourth quarter of action, 27-0. And for these coaches, Tim Garcia and Jaime Moreno, they are coaching at the exact same school they graduated from. Very interesting scenario for Jaime. He graduated back in 1990, and he was an outside linebacker as well as an offensive lineman for the Oxnard club. And as for Coach Garcia, graduated in 1986 and was the starting quarterback in 1985. Came back as a varsity offensive coach in 1991, moved to Colorado, then became the JV coach here as Marshall Perez mishandles it. Ball's loose, and it's scooped up by the Cougars at the 42-yard line in their own territory. And a strong recovery made there by the Yellowjackets, Alex Ariello.
Yeah, that's where maybe being the backup, some sort of confusion, inexperience. You can see Jones is still talking to Marshall Perez. They'll work towards that. But that's one that I think Jones did not expect Perez to be where he's at. Mm-hmm. And when the ball's pitched, you can tell he almost just looked in shock like, where are you? Why aren't you there? And why is the ball just laying there for the defense to get? So overall, you're up 27-0. There are backups in. I don't think the coaching staff is going to be quite as angry as if it was the starting tailback, Xavier Harris, but it's still a turnover, and it's something, come film study, when you're looking at film tomorrow morning, you're going to go through and you're going to tell your team we have to get better.
Tanner, left side, quick little hitch route towards the left boundary, and picks up 7 yards on the first down pass to Zapata.
Near midfield, we've seen both teams move the ball in plus territory all night. Only difference is one team has scored. 7 minutes left in this game, or 7:40 left. Still plenty of time for Jordan Tanner to gain experience with his receiving core. And these are not minutes that can be wasted if you're Ventura. At this point, you need to start seeing, if Tanner's your guy going forward, Cam, you have to see him progress with these wideouts.
Tanner left side, and he connects with Dawson at the 50-yard line, 2 yards shy of the first down marker. And as you're saying, Maxwell and the rest of these younger players, including Tanner, getting the reps that are necessary, and especially along this league stretch. There's going to be some difficult competition, and for these guys to at least get a little bit more seasoning against the clubs that are a bit more familiar with them, this is a vital opportunity for that.
It is, and it's one of those deals where also your offensive linemen, go up, block, create holes, get some confidence, and build off of that. Football is a game that it's not just about winning one battle, and just as I say that, there's a flinch by the right tackle again, with Barajas, who's also had to play double duty as a defensive tackle tonight. But you need, if you're an offensive line tonight, you still want to be sharp these last 7 minutes because you want to build that confidence and understand when I go face-to-face with the defensive lineman next week, I might have lost the first 30, 35 minutes, but maybe I won the final quarter. I won the final 7 minutes, and you can build off of that. There's still a lot that can be gained in this stretch run here in the final 6 minutes and 40 seconds for Ventura. So you want to find a way. Also, you don't want to be shut out at home. You want to get a touchdown and build something here as the clock continues to wind.
Jordan Tanner on the right hash mark of his own 41. Pump fake. Ball's knocked loose. Scooped up at the 25-yard line, and galloping into the end zone will be Titus Hutchinson, the junior outside linebacker. What a splendid play on his part.
You know what I loved about that call? They faked the blitz by Carlos Barboza, the cornerback, and when that happened, you could see Tanner instantly thought the blitz was coming. He starts strolling for that quick pass, and before you know it, Hutchinson is literally just tapping the ball away from his hand. And when I say the ball bounces your way sometimes, that ball bounced right back to Hutchinson, and he goes the distance. That was quite the defensive play. The fake blitz, you drop the corner. The receiver appears to be open for a second. Next thing you know, the outside linebacker comes in and makes the play. Oxnard's defense has been outstanding. I said an A effort by the offense in the first half. It's been an A-plus effort for the defense this half, and really just all around a team effort has been great. That was an amazing defensive play by Hutchinson, but a good job by Barbosa to still be able to fake that blitz and get the quarterback thinking more than he needs to.
And Anthony Lopez blocking the PAT. Font with his neon pink gloves trying to set the football, but a great blitz coming from the right side by Lopez to swat the point after touchdown. So with 6:18 remaining in the final period of play, it's 33-0. Yellowjackets leading on the road in a league matchup here on the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week, where Ventura Orthopedics has one goal: to get you back in the game. The doctors are well versed in the special orthopedic needs of both the amateur and professional athlete. Many of their physicians currently serve as team doctors for most of the area high schools and community colleges. 20 doctors, 26 physical therapists, all with an athlete's best health performance in mind. Learn more at VenturaOrtho.com today or call to schedule an appointment at 800-698-1280.
Yeah, and also make sure tonight, go to VCS Preps, check us out on Twitter, follow some of these scores here across the county. This one has gotten out of hand at this point, but there are plenty of games in the county across the board, and in the Pacific View League, it does kick off tonight here in this league, and important games now going forward with Rio Mesa, with Pacifica, with Oxnard. Those teams do seem to be the upper crust of this league as we head towards week 2, week 3 coming up of league play.
Estrada boots it away. Rodriguez takes it inside his own 10 near the 7-yard line. Will work towards the right sideline. Dekes out one defender and is held up at the 30. He turns his back to the defense and is finally pushed out at the 33-yard line. A return of close to 25 yards. And with 6:15 remaining in this ball game, a 33-point lead. And Coach Garcia said in our interview earlier in the week that he was very impressed with the senior leadership on this team and his captains, Jayden, Cline, as well as Nick Lansky and Zach Rodriguez, and kind of looking towards them tonight and probably tomorrow when they look at the film to try to pick up their teammates and not allow them to marinate on tonight's game.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. You can't get your heads down and say, okay, we played poorly, this is how it's going to be. You have to try to find that silver lining and improve, and Rodriguez is a good example of that. He's been running hard, beating defenders tonight, going through the kick game. He has played as hard as you could expect anybody on the field to play. And now, of course, a few players chirping to one another down on the field, and I'm not shocked, but up 33-0, you don't want to get yourself in trouble and get some sort of personal foul or a player all of a sudden hitting you. And then if you're on offense here, you're down 33-0. There's not a lot you can say to the opposition when you're down that big. So I hope that doesn't continue here in these final 6 minutes.
Well, Carson Wallace is back on the field, the junior quarterback, trying to galvanize and try to reinvigorate this Cougars offense that currently has a goose egg on the board with Maxwell on the field as the tailback as the clock ticks at 6 minutes.
I don't know exactly. Now the refs are
and
meeting
official
up.
Timeout, as there will be a congregation of striped shirts near the 41-yard line.
I'd say one thing all football fans can generally agree with, it's at least 98% of football fans, you don't like to see the refs huddle up in the center and stop a play, whether you are producing the broadcast, announcing the broadcast, at the game, watching on TV, streaming it, on the sidelines, coaching the game. The less zebras, the better. Tonight we've seen a lot of zebras. A lot of times it's been justified. I don't know quite what they're meeting for right now, but with 6 minutes left in the fourth and 33-0, you'd rather not see this if we don't have to. But I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying as a fan of football, it's always better when we don't see the white and black stripes on the field making calls too often.
So the ball's at the 45-yard line with the nose facing the west, and it looks as if the Cougars still belong on offense. Clock is stopped with 6 minutes. I wonder if it was just a respot.
Yeah, that's what it looks like at this point.
I think there was just a meeting. I think Coach Garcia wanted as much ground as possible and the ball to be spotted where he thought best, and it is a first down and 10 to go, so the chains did move.
And what do you think? This is your first time seeing both of these teams live in person this year. We've been able to here with the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week see them both. What's your kind of initial thoughts on what you've seen from both squads?
Well, Maxwell able to scurry to about the 40-yard line. There's a lot of talent on this Cougar team. I think once they're able to establish who their quarterback is going to be and maybe not have so many sub packages, I think this team will succeed. We've seen Carson Wallace have a couple good throws tonight. He was able to hook up with Cline on a seam route earlier in the ball game, and that really was able to propel this club on their first offensive sequence into near the red zone, at least, of the Yellowjackets. So there is something to build on, especially if you're able to put a score up here. And as for Oxnard, there's a reason they're the defending league champions, and they went to the D6 championship game last year. I think there's plenty to build on, but they have Pacifica next week, so a big challenge in front of them. Ball snared by R.J. Aranda as he tries to fight forward. He does. 10, 5, touchdown. And that one goes for 41 yards and the touchdown.
Yeah, good screen pass. They say if you guys can do it on one side, we can try to do it on the other. And Aranda, that was a nice play. It was a screen pass. And next thing you know, going the distance for Ventura is actually Curran Walker, I believe, is who got that. And that was just a nice play. So Curran Walker, one of the backup players, getting some time here, the junior, number 12. He goes 41 yards for the score. And again, something to build on, something to gain, a good pass, nice run after catch, and a really well-designed and well-executed play with the blocking.
And the kick is up, and it splits the uprights, 33-7, 5 minutes remaining in this ball game. And a great screen catch by Curran Walker as the junior makes his way into the end zone from 41 yards away. And as you said, Kent, putting points on the board, something to talk about in the film room and something to build on now moving forward. Currently a 26-point contest with Oxnard on the road in the Ventura Orthopedics game of the week. Anthony Placencia, Kent Brown, Cam Molina here with you on VCStar.com if you are just joining us. And
I'm going to give a shout out to Derry Eads. He's here, all the fine people at the Star, crossing, all over the county with games tonight. And make sure to go to VC Star. Check us out there on the web. Go to VCS Preps. Check us out on Twitter. We did the pregame hit on Facebook Live about an hour before kickoff. We thank you all that tuned in there, and hopefully you stayed with us here throughout tonight's broadcast. It's always fun getting the Deuce back into the mix. I remember a few years ago myself, him and Danny Page, we were broadcasting games all year, and he is a wealth of knowledge and experience, unlike almost anybody here in the county with his history and passion for Ventura County football.
Yes. And Rodriguez will send this one off, and it is a sky-high kick that is fair, caught at the 36-yard line.
I was hoping again that Ventura was just going to come and swipe it away like they did earlier, where they were like, no, we'll take the penalty, but, you're not catching this thing. That would have been funny. It's a weird one, though. If you're going to try the short kick, I almost feel like you're just better just going off the ground, onside kicking sort of deal, and hope the defense messes
roll,
up.
yes.
Because what happens here is it guarantees a fair catch, and then unless he just drops it, you can't go near him, otherwise it's a penalty. So I understand maybe it's a strategy, you keep it away from the deep men, but unless the up man just doesn't have good hands, 98 out of 100 times, it's just going to be a pretty short field and just easy fair catch.
Well, we've also seen what the Yellowjackets can do with good field position. And again, this time, right side, Marshall Perez, he ducks under a couple of the Cougars and makes his way to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, this is one of the worst field positions they've had all night.
I think so, too, yes. They've typically been around their own 40 or in Ventura territory. So this is a rare sight indeed, with Jayden Jones still out on the field, and as you mentioned, those bright yellow cleats.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he's still out there at this point. I understand maybe you don't want him to end with that pitch that went to the defense, as it turned out, because your running back was out of sync, so maybe this will be the final possession. I almost feel like if they get a first down, he should just come out of the game, and then you put in Vasquez the backup.
Here's the end around, left side, chopping upfield for the Yellowjackets, Carlos Barboza, the junior. As the clock rolls under 4:15 in this fourth quarter of play, 33-7.
Really good game for Oxnard tonight, a team that had a statement to make. I think if you're Ventura tonight, you were hoping that maybe a couple of the losses in the pre-league play were a way to get you ready for league play. A lot of coaches look at things that way. You'll challenge yourself out of league play, and then you're ready for league play. But it hasn't necessarily panned out that way tonight.
Marshall Perez lowers his shoulder, goes to the 41-yard line. These teams first met in 1923, Kent. And as we discussed earlier, this is the 96th overall matchup. Ventura, the overall win record still favors them. 54-36-5 is the line. And now we'll kind of tip to 54, 37, and 5.
1923. That's you're going on
long
almost
time.
100, almost 100 years. So that is just, it's a long time ago. There's no doubt about that. There's not too many people you or I know currently that will say, oh yeah, I was all right then. I was around.
4th and 5, and Rapp is there to punt the football away as he steps into the punt at the 30-yard line. Rodriguez calling for the fair catch and takes it at his own 32-yard line. Well, we've mentioned a handful of the captains for this Cougars bunch, but we've left one off, but he just happens to be 6 years old. I mean, that's no big deal, but Drew Citano is an honorary captain for today's game, and he is a BFF kiddo, or he's part of the Bumblebee Foundation. He's happens to be afflicted with cancer, and the Bumblebee Foundation assists families affected by pediatric cancer. The Cougars players have been able to pour their support and have stepped up and sponsored Drew throughout the season and are elated to have him join them for the first time this season. And he was there in the middle of the field during the coin toss. He and his brother have been on the field all night as co-captains. As the run towards the outside by Maxwell, he'll run to the 50 to the 45-yard line and pick up 23 yards on a first down carry. But if you want to help not only Drew but the rest of the BFF kiddos, make sure to visit the Bumblebee Foundation at www.bumblebeefoundation.org. Great cause there, and best of luck to Drew and his family and the Cougars, as well as the entire coaching staff and players, just doing a miraculous job supporting that young man.
Yeah, and that's what's great about all sports. Sports brings communities together, whether it's pro level, college, high school, youth, you name it. And it's always good to see communities rally around, whether it's a child going through pain or whether it's somebody at the high school level that gets injured, you name it. And it's good to be able to do that. You bring him out on the field, you let him be part of the team for the night, be a captain, and it's a special moment in not only the life of the child, but also the family, the community, the players, everybody there. It's a special thing to do when you see stuff like that.
It was a counter run by Maxwell, and he's at the 41-yard line as he was able to mush 4 for 4. And Maxwell's looked pretty good at his limited snaps. Again, you're going against the second unit for this Yellowjackets team, but he had some first-team reps as well, and he showed a good burst.
Yeah, we had the game earlier this year where probably second quarter we saw Kapler go down, and Maxwell stepped in and was great. He was a really solid player. And, again, he's not a senior. He's a junior, so expect to see a lot of Eric Maxwell probably as the season goes on, certainly next year. But he's a reliable guy to hand the ball off to.
Incomplete pass. Target was Rodriguez, the senior. And as we discussed, the utility man, and a substitution for the Cougars, as Texas Tanner will sub in. He plays along the defensive line, but now will enter the offensive formation as an additional blocker with 1:32 remaining in the ball game. 33-7.
So we have a Texas Tanner, a Chili Tanner, and then Jordan Tanner. So
well, yeah, I didn't even realize Jordan Tanner. I don't know how I didn't see that. It never dawned on me. I saw Chili and I saw Texas. Chili, who happens to be out tonight, he's along the defensive line, and Texas on the line as well. As Willis goes across the 40, he was hesitating, had plenty of room in front of him, but decides just to tiptoe out of bounds at the 35-yard line, a 6-yard gain.
So he's named Texas, your last name's Molina, so you got to kind of look at your name based on what the name would be. If you had to name a child, let's say a son, after a state, with the last name Molina, what state are you naming your child if you had to?
If I had to name a child after a state?
So it's something Molina. Could be Pennsylvania, Florida. Montana
Molina.
And then you could say,
sweet.
Name him after Joe Montana then, right?
That's true, yes. Maybe that's his first name, actually.
A Ringgold Ram. See, I don't just know Ventura County football. He's technically Washington County, which is outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but I used to have plenty of sports events at the Ringgold area, and he is a Ringgold Ram. So Joe Montana, a little shout out to my neck of the woods in Western PA. If I had to name, now my last name's Brown, so it does become a lot weirder to name after a state.
Willis, target deep, Rodriguez, and the white gloves aren't able to reel the football in nor corral it or any other adjective with 60 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter in a 33-7 game.
Now what state would work with Brown? That's not an easy one. I'm trying to narrow it down. Oklahoma Brown. I feel like there's so many. I don't know.
That seems just kind of like ironic, though.
Alabama. I feel like nowhere south. It almost has to be a cold weather state,
Alabama
maybe.
Brown sounds like a band name.
Alabama Brown's not the worst. Georgia Brown, but no, not as a son. Maybe just George Brown. I don't know.
George Brown. 4 wide receivers set. Rodriguez towards the bottom of the formation. Quick slant route. He loses it. And that brings up 3rd down with 57 seconds remaining. We've seen Willis air it out on a couple of occasions. But Coach Garcia's both quarterbacks just haven't been able to hook up on anything deep. The biggest gain has been 17 yards to Cline, which was back in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think overall in this game right now, when you look at Oxnard as we wind down this game under a minute left, it's just been a total team effort, domination. The line play has been great. The coaching has been really good. That's not to be understated. A lot of times it's the execution of the players, but the coaches put the players in those positions. And also the confidence level. When you start to gain early in this game, you're seeing 3rd downs converted, 4th downs converted. That's such a way to build up your confidence, and then you build that. You get 1 score, then it's 2 scores. You're seeing it on the defensive side. They're saying the offense is honoring their end, special teams honoring their end. It's time for us to honor our end. Interception, strip sack for a touchdown, just really good efforts.
Maxwell goes for 16, then a quick pass to the flat to Curran Walker, who had a touchdown earlier, the lone touchdown for the Cougars. He goes out near the 1-yard line. He could have potentially tiptoed along the sideline 4-6, but is pushed out just shy of the pylon. 39 ticks remaining in this 4th frame of action. Power formation. Cline comes in, lead blockers, tries to slither in, and he is in. Touchdown.
Nice run, good blocking, but a tough physical at the goal line play by Jayden Cline, and that's what you want out of your captain. It hasn't been the easiest night for the Cougars. Clearly they're going to fall on the short end of winning this game, but you were down 33-0. You've now closed that gap to 33-13, and you make a PAT, it's 14. A good close to this game, and that's what we said at about the 7-minute mark. Let's see if you can build something, get some light in that tunnel, and they've done a good job here, and a great effort by Cline there on that keeper with the lead blockers.
Carson Willis, the holder. Rodriguez kicks it up and good with 35.4 seconds remaining. 33-14 the score. And the Cougars have now put 2 touchdowns on the board.
I also want to say I did not get around to trying the tri-tip tonight. That's clearly the George Contreras role. I'm playing the color commentating role tonight. I did smell it right before kickoff, and it smelled excellent. Our producer, Anthony Placencia, not only tried it, but when I mentioned it, he was grinning ear to ear today. He's not necessarily going to give the review. George Wood will make sure that stays a segment. But I will say, if you're just giving a thumbs up or thumbs down, it was an absolute thumbs up, or the old Ebert and Roper, or Siskel and Ebert, 2 thumbs up. And he recommends it. And I've had it so many years. My first ever broadcast I did here in Ventura County was here at Larrabee Stadium back in the day with Eric Evelhoff. And I'll tell you what, it's one of the best tri-tips, if not the best around. So I can't say I have the expertise George Contreras does, but I will say just if I had to grade gold, silver, bronze, it's at least getting a medal when you add in all the stadiums around the county.
Anthony, when we were discussing it before the opening kickoff, goes, hey, Kent, the tri-tip, it was good. And then just 2 thumbs up, nodded his head, and then walked to his camera.
Oh, yeah. That's the way to do it. When food's that good, you don't have to brag about it too much. It's the simplicity of, if you eat a really good steak, generally speaking, all you need to do is look at the person eating it, and you can tell if it's good. If they're not talking a lot and they're smiling.
If you're looking at somebody while they're eating, I think there might be a bigger problem at hand. Just like, hey, what's your reaction? Is it good? Is it just get your own tri-tip?
It's a good point. The clock is winding down. The tri-tip's the winner here tonight, and obviously Oxnard is the winner here tonight. So it has been a fun game, and I know you're going to ask me about it, so I'll just jump the gun here and say Oxnard was extremely impressive.
Yes.
I liked what they did. We saw them play Camarillo. It was a tough loss. It's one of those games you're thinking, are they going to get over that hump? Are they going to bounce back? Camarillo might end up being one of the best teams in the county, and now Oxnard is showing that they could be in that mix. And for Ventura, good close to this game. You have to figure out the quarterback position. I like what I've seen out of Kapler. I like Rodriguez if you can get him the ball on those deep routes. The defensive line does have to get better. I did leave tonight not as impressed as I was the first week we saw them when the defensive line dominated. And for Oxnard tonight, on all levels, offensive line, skill position, quarterback, tailbacks, D-line, linebackers, safeties, corners, everybody came to play, coaches. It was just a really good effort, total team from top to bottom, and that's why they're going to compete for a league title, and that is why they left tonight here at Larrabee Stadium the victors.
And they have Pacifica next week, so that potentially could be the PVL title matchup at that point. We don't know just quite yet, but Oxnard will advance to 5-1 on the season. Their lone loss to Camarillo 26-25 2 weeks ago, but a big bounce back win after a bye week, prevailing 33-14 on the road to go 1-0 in league play. And once again, this has been the Ventura Orthopedics Game of the Week. At Ventura Orthopedics, they offer state-of-the-art technology to ensure their patients receive the best care available, always staying abreast of the latest developments in orthopedic medicine. The doctors and surgeons have been among the first in the community to perform many advanced orthopedic treatments, including total hip replacement. Learn more at VenturaOrtho.com today and let them help you get back in the game. A final goodbye from VCStar.com. And again, the Ventura Orthopedic Game of the Week from Anthony Placencia, Kent Brown, Cam Molina, and our entire VC Star cast. We say goodbye. Have fun and be safe.